Bobby, listeners, jig heads, it's me. The infamous, who the F is Joe Brown? So I'm sure you've all noticed that I've been a little quiet, a little bit of not there, so to say. And with our listeners, especially our jig heads, I wanted to be a little bit transparent with you guys. So while I was in California a couple weeks ago, I had a little bit of a medical situation creep up on me. And that is the reason why I have been absent from the show and a little bit quiet on the social media front. But good news is, you know, I'm taking it day by day, getting better each day, and I will be back, and I will be better than ever. So for those, you know, when I come back on the show, I'll be a little bit more transparent as to what went on, you know, and we'll talk about it. But for now, I am good. I'm alive, and I am just taking a little bit of me time to recuperate. And I appreciate each and every one of you, especially the ones that are kind of know what's going on and reached out. I appreciate each and every one of you. So, as always, Bobby, go get them. I will be back. Love you guys. Miss you guys. We'll see you soon.
Bobby Roast Beef here for Jigs and Friggin' Bigs. Man, we have an amazing show lined up here. We got a bunch of jig heads in the house. We got special guest co-host this week, the one and only Binya Outdoors. Jumping on in a little bit of a pinch. We got an awesome show, guys. We got a real good Just a Tip. If you've ever struggled with fishing vegetation, this is a good episode for you to listen to. We got an amazing guest in the beef seat. By far, I would say the most conventionally famous guest we've ever had on the show. It's the one and only Rachel Mullins, a.k.a.
Adventure Titties.
Yeah. Adventure Titties. She just got done with iCast. We talk about that. We talk about some of the projects she's got going on. Unbelievably good stuff from Adventure Titties, from Rachel. It's going to be really good. And we got a bunch of stuff on the live wall that you guys are not going to want to miss. Go ahead, grab you something delicious, something very delicious to enjoy. We got lots to talk about this week. More Jigs and Bigs coming up right after this.
I tell you, it's been a week.
It's been a handful of weeks, to be perfectly honest. Binya, dude, how are you, man? Welcome to the big show.
Fresh off the big loss in the slot series tournament, I'm here to take my lumps and talk to everybody.
It was humbling for the both of us, man. We'll talk about that. I did just drop the video with the slot limit series, which is pretty good so far. And you guys have been really into it. I mean, I've been tinkering a little bit with the YouTubes lately. I've been tinkering a little bit, fooling around with thumbnails and titles and trying to get as many eyes on things as possible. But we got a good one today. This video is pretty solid. I went out a couple of times this week, had some fun, had a fucking heavy week, man. And we're going to dive into that. But Binya, I want to give you the opportunity to talk about, well, actually, before you talk about your week, let's do a little bit of housekeeping here, just in case we got one of those new listeners just getting into this show right here. Let me first off say welcome. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for listening to Jigs and Bigs. We appreciate you. And if you're curious, what the hell is this shit show that I stumbled on? That's exactly what it is. This is your weekly, I guess, a cornucopia of fishy entertainment. So, yeah, we talk all things fishing, of course, but a lot of fishing adjacent stuff as well. And we try to do so in an entertaining way. We celebrate stories and, we weep in sharing in our defeats because it's an adventure out out there. Every show comes out on Tuesday mornings. You can check us out on your favorite podcast platform, including YouTube. The show shows up there each and every week. You can go ahead and give it a listen. It's not a video program. A lot of people ask about that. No, on YouTube, it's not a video program. It's just an image of the artwork will show up there, but it's the same show, fully edited and processed the same way. So you get top quality production, all your fishy stuff that you could want throughout the week. And yes, some of these are marathon episodes. Like last week's episode was over 4.5 hours long. We had the Northwest Wind on, and I'll tell you, I had a blast talking to Sam. I listened to that interview and thoroughly enjoyed it. Even listening this second time, I was like, this is really good. Sam's a good dude. We are going to go out and do some fishing. He and I do a camping trip. It's going to be fun. I don't know. He might get me to camp with him in a dumpster if he's going to make sausage and peppers again. He might. I'm just saying. If you guys aren't following the Northwest Wind, you guys should definitely go ahead and do that. Throw in earbuds and fish away. Hell yeah, baby. Hell yeah. We got so much crazy shit to talk about. Jigsandbigs.com is kind of ground central. We do a few different things here that are interesting. First and foremost, yeah, we do a lot of talk and stuff. There's YouTube channels for Jigs and Bigs. There's also American Vet Fishing. Go ahead, give American Vet Fishing a follow as well. That is my regular co-host, Joe's YouTube channel. And he does a whole lot more regarding like tournament fishing. But Jigs and Bigs likes to get tournament-y and a little competitive on our own. We do two different styles of tournaments. We do a multi-species scavenger hunt. These are nationwide, a month long. You can go ahead and jump in. And we've got links at jigsandbigs.com for all of our tournaments. The other one, which is probably the more popular one right now, is the Bass Slot Limit Tournament, where you're trying to catch fish within a specific size range that allows anglers to be competitive no matter where they are in the country. There's no real advantage to those anglers in the deep south or over on the West Coast, where you have lots of those giants. So we have a lot of fun with this here. I think you guys will really, really enjoy that. Check that out there. And then, of course, jigsandbigs.com. You got your shop. If you're all about this show and you want to show us a little bit of love and maybe rep our logo or some of our designs on some apparel, you can go ahead and purchase all that right there in our store, jigsandbigs.com/shop. And I think that about covers it as far as all that goes. Binya, let's first off, man, how's your week been? How fishy has it been?
This week hasn't been because it's just beginning for me, but last week was fun. So Friday, so I'm on call for work. So I'm in a weird limbo where I have to be within a half an hour of stable internet.
Fair enough.
So it greatly reduces the amount of locations being in Vermont.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's got to be a challenge.
So I went to a lake that I never fish. And the reason I don't is because as the jig heads, like we all call them, the lake lice, are very, very prevalent at this particular body of water. It is heavy wake boat, heavy jet ski lake. But on a Friday, I can go get there, get in and get out early. And I actually went and messed around there and was playing around with some Texas rigs, some flipping, and playing around with an actual rig I found on YouTube, which was kind of cool. It's basically a drop shot, but instead of tying the hook, you use a bumper stop below the hook. And I was playing around with that because I hate the drop shot with a passion, but I need to learn how to fish it better to fish deep. And it gives you the ability to change the depth. Like I can just on the fly make it a longer, shorter leader. And the inherent benefit I didn't think about was when you're done fishing it and you need to hook it, you don't get that helicopter weight wrapping around your rod because you can shrink it all down and make it compact. So I'm playing around with that a little bit. Saturday, I actually fished a little bit. I did a night fish. I actually sent Bobby a message from, I was literally out in the dark doing my alien green glow lights that I have on my kayak, doing a little frogging at night. And then Sunday, I actually took the wife out and we went out on a body of water and she got to go out in my old kayak and do some fishing too. So it was pretty busy weekend.
That's awesome, man. Did you catch any decent ones? How was night fishing especially? That's like, I am least comfortable night fishing.
Really?
Yeah. I very rarely hook up when I'm fishing at night.
So there's a lake right by me. It's my home lake. If you guys watch my channel at all, you'll be like, oh yeah, this is the 70% of Binya's videos because it's a lake near my house that I'm familiar with. But it has this huge pad field. Like we're talking probably 200 yards of just pads.
Wow.
And it's probably 3 feet deep. But when the sun starts to go down, it's like the buffet line opened up. Like they just all hang out in there. Now they're not there will be some decent ones in there at times.
Sure.
But it's mostly just the thrill of being able to catch them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can throw a popping frog, you can throw when you're not fishing the pads, it's all submergent milfoil on the edge of that. So you can throw like a spook, a popper, a plopping bait. You can throw all of those open water style, but you can actually throw like a big frog or whatever, and they come unglued. So it's the confidence is 2 things. One, I know they're there because I have hundreds of hours on this lake and I know roughly where they're going to be. But 2, it's 30 yards from the ramp. So I can fish it right up until it's safer, I guess, in the sense of being in a plastic boat instead of being out in the middle of the lake fishing at night. I'm literally right next to the ramp.
That does make it kind of convenient, you know? That's pretty good. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I don't know what it is, man. I've gone out night fishing probably like half a dozen times. Occasionally, like at dusk, I might do okay with like a buzzbait, or something like that. But once we get into like absolute darkness, I don't know, man. For whatever reason, I'm just like, I have the hardest time getting on fish, once that sun is down.
And it could be the green LEDs too. I know green light does attract fish.
Yeah, I've never fooled around with any of that. That could be.
So, because I have like green, it's actually it's weird because I'm almost blind while I'm fishing these videos because I'm trying to record. So I have green LEDs that are kind of like waist high. So they're not in my face, but they're enough at me that my night vision is distorted.
Sure.
But it makes, honestly, for me, it's just a nerdy thing. It looks really cool.
Well, and like you said it, you're making videos. Like you got to have some sort of light in order, or what's the point? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy, dude. That's nuts. I had, let's get your take on the last slot limit series, because that was the weekend prior.
Yep.
That was, I had a very, very good time, although we both fucking struggled. And I don't know if you caught it at the end of the video. I was driving back and I was like, it kind of hit me. I'm like, in our little side quest of like boat versus kayak, forward facing versus no electronics, I came out the victor. But really, like, I was like, this isn't really even like a win like I could be like actually proud of, because number one, we caught the exact same number of fish. I'd feel differently if like I had caught a third. But no, we each caught 2 fish that fit the slot. And we both had the same problem all day long. Like, we were just cycling through fish that were way too small for the tournament, which, by the way, I want to say, Brandon and Chris kind of inadvertently gave me this awesome idea. You and I talked a little bit about it, but there's an idea that's coming for a future tournament that will kind of, I don't know if it's going to run in conjunction or if it should be its own thing. I mean, this might be something that we need to talk about and poll some folks with. But I did in my video. I was like, I won by an inch and a quarter or an inch and a half. And I'm like, it's hard to even be proud of that, because the guy who won the slot limit tournament was on the same body of water with us. And literally at the end of the day, caught like 10 times the amount of inches. Like just, oh God. So what was your take?
So it's funny. So I was watching your video, and I'll admit, so here's 2 things. One, and you kind of said it, you said it on the podcast too, was I am extremely competitive.
Yes.
And you probably noticed it more because I was in my own kayak for this slot series. I don't you're dead to me until 4 o'clock.
Exactly,
that's how I'm wired.
There was times like you were going by. There's a part where you're just like,
if it was 0 to 9 inches, I'd be winning.
And I was like, that poor guy is spiraling out of control right now. He's on a mental fucking breakdown.
It's literally, it's how I'm wired. It's so me and my wife literally played on the same co-ed softball team, and there's people that played in that league that didn't know we were married. Because we did not interact at all during the game. Like, I didn't talk to her. She didn't talk to me because it would because as soon as I stepped onto the ball field, I'm in a different headspace. And that's how I fish tournaments and anything. And what And that's actually what inspired me. So I was going to delete the footage. I honestly wasn't going to make.
I know you were. I could tell when we went out for barbecue afterwards. You were like, "I don't know if I'm going to have a video, man. I don't know what I got."
And I kind of played it back in my head, and I was like, there's a message to be told, 100%. And that is, you can't take yourself too seriously. And that's one of the things and that's where I want to be very clear. I said you're dead to me from 8 to 4. After and before,
oh yeah.
It's all good. And I'm not mad. The competitive nature is not at my opponents.
Yeah.
It's at myself.
Yeah, exactly.
I was frustrated because, and it would have been totally different if me and Bobby had gone to this lake, and even if we had both blanked, it would have felt better
than having the winner
if
there.
It wasn't for the fact that the guy who won the damn tournament was 30 yards off of my kayak 3/4 of the day. He probably weighed more fish on my board than I did. Because he borrowed my board throughout the
100% he did. I went through his fish and I was like, bro, what the fuck, man? What the fuck? And I think here's the thing. Like, I will say this much, and I didn't get into this in the video or anything, but I do think, and I think that in the conversation of like, where does forward-facing sonar fit in it? I feel like it was obvious that John has a good, solid understanding and experience using forward-facing in the situations that it's best applied. Why?
Yep.
Because he shared that information with me, and I was fishing the depths according to the map and throwing a similar presentation, but I didn't have that reassurance of knowing that there were even fish there. So I was in a different sort of situation. I was like, I either have to throw these small light baits that they are dialed to and they're focused on and they are reacting and they're biting to them, and I have to wait for them to get all the way down there, which in the end gave me my biggest fish of the day. Or my initial thought was there have to be some larger fish that will fit in the slot. So I'm just going to go and try and cycle through as many as I can. And I did a shot for shot count. There are 16 fish that are caught, 2 of them for the slot in that video. 14 of those fish are either too short or they're the wrong species, because there was one that was a bullhead. I don't know why. Second week in a row, I caught a bullhead on a finesse swim bait. I mean, whatever. And apparently that's my new thing. Watch out, multi-species scavenger hunt. And then, then I went back, all the catches that I left out, there were another 13 catches. There were 29 fish that I caught that day. And 27 of them were too short or the wrong species. 26 were too short. 1 was the wrong species. 2 of those fit the slot. So I'm like, yeah, ridiculous, man.
It's literally why. So that drop shot thing I was telling you about, that's why I looked into. That's where I found that video.
That's a Matt Stefan thing, right?
Yep. Exactly. And what it was is, and this is a perfect example.
Bullhead Bobby.
This is a perfect example of, and I'm not going to bring this up, and I know it's like taboo, whatever, but this is proof that just because you have forward-facing sonar on your vessel doesn't automatically give you the win.
Yeah.
Because I'm still learning it. Now, don't get me wrong.
Oh, exactly.
It helps me, and there are certain situations where I do feel handicapped without it because I can scan and see if there's fish on a bank or on structure or whatever.
Yep.
But once you get over 10 feet from me, 10 to 15 feet, I need to learn how to entice those fish to bite. I can see them, which is actually probably for me more frustrating than it was for Bobby, because Bobby's out in 20 feet throwing a bait going,
dragging.
I hope there's something there.
Yeah.
But I'm actually watching the fish watch my bait fall to the bottom, not react to it, and then looking out over the lake and seeing John pull another one and throw it on his measure board, and I'm like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
And it was rough. Like, and that's where, like, if I could do it again, I would have definitely changed like a couple of things, but that's the reason I do tournaments. And that's something that I think is important to understand between fun fishing and tournament fishing. For me, tournament fishing is not about getting rich. It's not about making money. It really has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that because I got beat, I didn't lose. I got beat.
Yeah.
I screwed myself up a bunch, got in my head. I gave up in the last 2 hours.
And you took a nap.
I took a nap. I literally went over in the corner and took a nap for like a half an hour. I'm like, I was so aggravated with myself that I needed to just take time out. And that's what I did is I put myself in time out by the access. And then I came over and I hung out with Bobby for an hour. And I'm like, you want to go get some barbecue? But what it does is it makes me hyper competitive against myself. And I go, okay, I need to learn how to fish deep. I need to learn how to drop shot. I need to learn a couple more deep techniques. That's why I do it, is it drives me to learn.
Yeah.
And from a channel perspective, being a content creator, I can then pass that knowledge through my videos. So that's the reason I do tournaments. And anybody who thought, like, when you watch the video, and I want to put this out there for anybody who watches my video.
Yep.
I'm going to look like I am absolutely pissed the whole time. And I am, but I'm not pissed at anybody in the tournament.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's the thing when you're in that competitive space, it's very easy to have it look like you're not having a good time,
Yep.
But at the end of the day, it's like when you leave the water, and that's the beauty about it. When you get off the water, all that shit's behind you. That's part of the reason why I think that like the events like the Kayak Adventure Series are so great, because like there are people who get into these tournaments that's what they do. They compete. They're competitive anglers. Like it's just what the way that they're built. But then you have other people who are just like, I just want to do this and I love the community. And when you get off the water, there is that community. I think that that's unbelievable. Eli chimes in and he has a couple of good comments. He goes, I've heard multiple people say that they focus too much on one fish because of forward facing. And I think that, it's funny. I think it was actually Eli had asked a few weeks ago about time management, and when do you switch things up? That's a huge part of fishing in general, and it can, whether it's dedicating too much time to a particular spot and not moving on when you should, or if it's like because of forward facing, you're like, I can see you, just fucking bite, and then you've wasted like 45 minutes on one fish.
I'll tell you right now, the thing with forward facing sonar for me is because I am traditionally your old school pitch flip. Throw a wacky rig at a tree fisherman. I'm learning to use the technology, there is tournaments where I turn it off.
Yeah, definitely.
I turn the whole fish finder off.
Big grass lakes and shit like that. Like, what's the point? You know what I mean?
I don't need it.
Yeah.
But there is certain situations where it's one of those like, and that's where it's like that whole debate. But like, and I don't even want to get into it. But ultimately, it's like I gotta learn how to use it, and it's weirdly enough the way I use it is weird because I'm using it while I'm crankbait and swim jig fishing.
Yeah. I
point it out deep and then I'm casting at the bank. And then if I see something on it while I'm working the bait in between casts, that's when I use it. I can't do as of right now, I can't do the dangle minnow, sit in the middle of the lake and cast 100 times to the same spot. I've got to learn how to do that.
That I can do. Like I would have no problem with that. I just refuse to spend the money, man. I'm busted. I am broke. I don't have any money to put into my rig. Nothing. So like, if you guys want to see Bobby Roast Beef do some of this like deep fishing or like serious ledge fishing, utilizing something like forward facing.
Garmin, come here. Come on, talk to your boy. Come on.
That's all I'm saying. Metal Jones chimes in. He goes, I mean, that's been forever. He says, I'll spend 2 hours trying to get a bedding bass to bite. And I think that's something that people don't take into consideration a lot of the time is it like forward facing is one, like, or deep fishing or fishing with technology at all. That's like one facet. There are other ways that you can look at it. And I think bedding bass are a great way to look at it because a lot of times people, what do they tell you? Like, oh, you gotta get them worked up and piss them off so that they'll bite whatever you're throwing at them. It's like, well, yeah, but if you're in a tournament situation, what if that takes X amount of time and you fuck it up or something like that? Quick, everyone buy a Jigs and Bigs hat. There you go.
Actually, I've got to get a Jigs and Bigs hat. That's the one hat I don't have yet.
So let's talk about my week. My week was crazy pants. I got out. We did the the tournament on Saturday, which was awesome. I did not fish on Sunday. I considered it. I really did. I considered it. I had trivia to do that night. I did. Did I go out on Monday? I believe I did go out on Monday. I don't know that Monday was actually any good, though, to be perfectly honest with you. I think Monday was kind of a shit show, if we're being honest. So I basically kind of put a lot of my eggs in one basket. Now I have some shit going on in the life of Bobby Roast Beef. Like, there's a lot happening right now. We have the trip to New Hampshire with my family to celebrate my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary. That was back in May was their anniversary, but we're going up for a little while, and there was a little bit of a hiccup in our plans because our pet care had fallen through, and the place where we're staying has a no pet policy, and it's a whole thing, and I'm not going to get into the details here, but so I am going up. I decided, I was like, this trip kind of killed me, and the last couple of years for my business have been tough. I'm like, I'm going to work. I'm not canceling any of my events. I'm going to work, and I'm going to go up on the days that I'm off. And because I'm only working in the evenings, I'll basically be there most of the time. But like Tuesday afternoon to like Thursday night, Friday morning, I won't be there. My kids will be up there. They're going to be chilling and doing their thing. My folks will be up there, and it'll be a good time. So we'll go ahead and make some things happen. I'm going to be leaving very early to be up there on the Saturday when everybody gets there. But nobody realizes this. I'm going to fish. I'm going to be fishing all day, and then I'll just meet everybody at the Verbo when it's time. But it's going to be a good time. So I got that going on for me. And this is going to take a turn, guys. So I had a podcast recording session with Jimmy Lee, a.k.a. Raw Fishing. That's coming up next week. Guys, Jimmy shared a story that rattled me. Like, I was not expecting. I'm just saying, next week, you're going to want to give this a listen, man. He shared some info. This is a dark story, and it had a major impact on him. And I'm like, I was like, where do I go from this? You know what I mean? Having to bounce back from it. But it was a really good interview. Raw Fishing, great YouTube channel. I definitely recommend go checking that out. So that's coming up. I recorded that last week. And then Thursday, I'm going to get into this here. I was going to put this in just the tip and kind of make it a thing, like how important every day is and everything. But here's the deal. I'm sharing this because we've talked about this situation in the past. So I feel comfortable, like, talking about it specifically, even though it's not me or my health or anything like that. But Thursday night, I'm at trivia, and I want to paint the picture for you guys. Okay. I'm at trivia, and I'm doing my thing. And I don't know why, but in between rounds toward the end of the game, I went on Facebook. I don't know why. I used my phone as the remote for the second round. I disconnect everything. I immediately start getting a bunch of notifications and stuff, and I have about 10 minutes. So I jump on, and I'm flipping through, and the thing that pops up right at the top is my buddy Paul, my fishing buddy Paul, shares something, and it was a music video from the band Suicidal Tendencies. And the song is called You Can't Bring Me Down. And this, to most people, would think nothing of it because Paul is an old school metalhead, hardcore guy. Like, he's all about this shit. Most people would think nothing about it, but Paul hasn't shared a quasi-inspirational, like, rock or metal song since he was going through chemotherapy for pancreatic cancer. When I started this podcast, he got a diagnosis for pancreatic cancer. And luckily, thank God, it was like super early and they happened to catch it, which is rare. That's not very common. And he's spent the last like almost 5 years cancer free. And I saw this video and immediately like I turned white. I was like, bro, I text him saying, hey, you okay? You haven't shared a quasi-inspirational rock or metal song on your profile in a while. And he's like, actually, dude, not okay. I was at Dana-Farber yesterday. Needless to say, he's obviously had to go through like a series of doctor visits to make sure like everything's in check and everything. And I guess some of the numbers came back and it was a little squirrely. So they sent him out and they found some shit. And they're a little concerned. So they're going to obviously do like a biopsy and investigate and see what we're dealing with, all that shit. But I'll tell you what, when he said that to me, obviously it was like there was a lot of like deja vu in a way. Like I was like, holy shit, we've been here before. But I'll tell you, there was a part of me that got really fucking angry. And it wasn't because my best friend might have cancer again. It was because my best friend in the last 5 years spent most of his time busting his ass, not making himself I think, genuinely happy. And he got a second chance at life. And I don't know that he took advantage of it. I mean, I could be wrong. You know, I had a conversation with him at one point, and I said to him, I was like, dude, I'm going to push you to go on these trips, all the shit that we talked about. Like, I was like, to travel and fucking adventure and shit like that. We were in bands together. Like, all we wanted to do was go on tour, you know, and like fucking have hijinks all over the fucking country. And I'm like, we gotta, you know, do so. And I told him straight up, I think this is right about the time we went to Chickamauga. Might have been about a year before that when we were planning that. And I was like, I'm gonna be riding you for this shit to like go on these trips. And I was like, if that's not what you want to do, tell me to back the fuck off. I will not take offense to it. But I'm like, you got really fucking lucky with your lot in life right here. And now I'm like, fuck, you know? He was like 2 months away from going 5 years cancer free. Fucking unbelievable. Unfucking believable. So, yeah, it was a fucking heavy day. So I was like, I've also been texting back and forth with him about trying to get out and fish. And he's been experiencing some like back pain, having a hard time sleeping and stuff. Unrelated is what they're saying to him, is that these are two separate things. So he's like, you know, man, I could definitely use the fucking distraction this week. So let's go fish. And that morning I woke up and I was going to bring my camera and everything and make a video. And I should have, because man, we had a day. We had a plan. I was like, look, there's this list of like bodies of water. One of them has the worst parking situation ever. So let's go and establish that like at dawn. If it's shit, we'll go to the next place. And I'm like, you and I, we're going to go out for barbecue and we're going to freaking we're going to pound some meat. I'm like, we're going to go ahead and put down some fucking ribs and some brisket and all kinds of shit. And we did. So we ended up at that first spot. We go out and my goal is like, I know Paul loves topwater. I know it. And I'm like, let's get out there early, man. Like right before the sun comes up. And so we get out there. Dude, it was beautiful. Like the skies were clear. The sun was just coming up. And it was cool enough to like where you still had to wear a hoodie. Like it was cool out that morning. It was in like the mid to upper 50s, and we had fog coming off the water. It was just one of those things. I start throwing a Zara spook, right? Covering water, just looking for something. Paul starts
whopping and a plopping.
As he does. He makes a cast and gets a blow up immediately. And I was like, well, he wasn't working the bait. I don't know if that's the move. We're going to keep fishing. I get nothing. And then a little like there was a sense that came over me. I was like, idiot, throw a floating jerk. So I have an A-Bay floating jerk that's like a 90 size. And I throw that and I'm working that back and forth. Nothing. They're just not hitting topwater whatsoever. We start moving along and, we start getting up to this spot where there's some rocks and a bunch of wood all over the place. So I grab a jig and I'm throwing a 1099 XL jig from Blue Rock. And I'm pairing that with, now it's discontinued. You can't get it. They're reinventing it, but it'll be back. But the baby beef from Magnum Baits. And I'm throwing this jig, peanut butter jelly jig with a, what was it? It's medium rare is the color. It's like a black with like a purple or like a maroonish kind of purple. Real good color. This is what I caught that 7 on, that combo, but the full-size beef craw. So I'm flipping into spots, and I hook into my first fish, and it was a 23-inch chain pickerel. Not bad. I think, honestly, probably one of the only chain pickerel I've ever caught on a jig. Most of the time it's like swim baits and shit like that. It's fucking nuts. So I go and I'm fishing this one area and I'm like, so I think it's the shade lines. I really do. I just think it's the shade lines because that's where all the action seemed to be. And we fished this one spot and we're fishing the west side of the river, like the bank. So it's getting the sunlight right over there. And I'm like, you know what, dude? Let's cut across to the east bank and we'll fish that side because that's got a little bit more shade that's coming out. That was the move. We made that move over there. And then I put a 15 in the boat, largemouth, on that jig. Paul caught a couple of different ones on a wacky. And then he was like, I think I'm going to switch to a jig and try and get a better bite. He caught a couple more as we went throughout. I caught another 15. I missed a couple with like just shitty hook sets. And then I put a 19 in the boat, which is badass. So I was like, that is awesome. So again, like, would have been great to have my cameras to capture all of this and everything. But I made that call first thing in the morning. I was like, that's not what this trip's for. You know, I did, of course, snap a bunch of pics and everything, made a reel to put on Instagram and everything, but nothing long form for that. So I'm like, definitely going out this either Sunday or Monday, ended up being today, and doing some fishing for content. That's the plan. That's what we're going to do. Fishing for content. I had a day today, too. Fucking amazing day. I went and I hit the Connecticut River. Portion of it that, like... I make a decision when I go there. I'm like, do I want to fish more like sheltered water where I can get bit on maybe more pike and largemouth, or do I want to go out to the main river and fish for smallmouth? And I was like, you know what? I kind of want to stay in the oxbow. So I go in the back there and I'm like, we'll just see what happens. I don't know what I normally motor all the way down to this one spot and start along a specific area of bank because there's a lot of just sexy looking stuff that makes sense. And there was something that stuck out to me, this one laydown. And I was like, I'm going to start there and I'm going to work my way all the way down. I set an alarm on my phone for when I needed to be off the water because I had an event, a meeting this afternoon. Totally forgot about that. And that went crazy late. So that's why I'm here as late as I am now. I get out there and I start throwing around the minigun from Battle Baits, which I'm not sure if you're familiar, Bania, with the minigun, but the minigun is like, I want to say that it's a more compact single blade spinnerbait, but it still is available in those heavier weights. So you can run this deeper, you know, and it's got a real strong burly hook. So you can jack them real good. It's just that the overall size is a little bit more compact. The skirt is a little bit more compact. And I was throwing this, it was a 1/2 ounce spinnerbait, right? Single willow blade, and I was running it with a curly tail grub on the back, so it had nice little action behind it. Not a big wide swinging paddle tail or anything. Caught a 15 at what I thought was just a sexy looking laydown. And when I got closer to it, I saw that there was a bunch of weed beds that were in front of the bank right here, some with pads. So I'm like, okay, this is good. I start making my way a little bit further down. I hook into a pike that shakes off right at the boat. Like right at my feet. I was like, you son of a bitch. Okay, cool. 2 fish is a pattern. I'm like, okay, cool. He shook off there. I had him on. We're good. So I start fishing. I get a couple of big taps here and there. And later in the day, I realized of all the largemouth that I did catch, and there were more that I caught, I feel like the largemouth were like really eating that bait. I had another handful of pike that would just follow it right to the boat, see me, and take off. So I think there was one little bit of a change that I could have made to maybe get some of those bites. But I was not complaining. I caught great largemouth. I caught one dink that was in like the 12, 13 inch window. I caught another 15 and a quarter. And then I caught a 19 today. All on fishing this over these submerged weeds. Just kind of like throwing it out there when it would get, when it would get tangled up. Now, these aren't like super thick weeds or anything like that. So like throwing something like a spinnerbait will certainly work well. And I would just slow roll it. And as I'd get hung up, I'd just give it a pop and rip those weeds off. And I had these bass that would just come out. In fact, at 15 and a quarter, I just made this random cast out across the front of a dock. And he just swam right out. I saw him coming right at the bait and then bang, just hammered it. So I think that those bass were really eating that lure well. But I think that the pike were more like swatting at it and fooling around. They weren't really getting the hook at all necessarily, other than that first one. And I mean, when he shook off at the boat, like the hook was like right at the very edge of his lower lip. And I'm like, yeah, so that was not a good hook set. Probably just ripped the skin. But a pretty good day overall. I can't complain. Got off the water. I put a couple of decent ones in the boat. I got a video together, so that will be coming out either later this week or early next week. And it was just freaking nuts, dude. I needed today big time. I really did. I needed Saturday big time, too. Paul and I had a great time. It really was. And I ran it by him. I was like, because he's on vacation this week. And I was like, listen, I'm going out on Monday. If you want to join me, let me know. I'm only going to the river. So I'm going to sleep in. I'm going to go when I get up. You know, I think I was on the water for like 8:30, something like that. I'm like, all right, that'll work. That's fine. But dude, I had a blast. I really did. I had an absolute freaking blast. Yeah, beautiful, dude. Let's take a look at the notes here. What are we dealing with? What are we working with here? We're not going to do any headlines tonight. We're going to actually put that to bed for a bit until Joe gets back. Because I'll tell you what, while I love doing the headlines and everything, I think Joe, that's his niche right there. I really do. I genuinely
for sure.
One thing that we should talk about is that the slot limit series for August is up and available for you guys to register, as is the multi-species scavenger hunt. Now, if you go over to jigsandbigs.com and you take a look at our links right there, you right on the list, you can register for the slot limit tournament. The slot limit tournament is on, I want to say it's the 30th. Let me actually take a look. Yeah, it is. It's the 30th. And here's if there's a benefit to being the tournament director, it's this. So I initially wanted to make it on the 23rd, except that I have to do a wedding that night for a great couple, and I'm excited about it. But I want to fish it. So I'm like, yeah, we're going to do it on the 30th. And I know that is the Saturday of Labor Day weekend. But I figured that normally we're always trying to avoid those days. I'm wondering if we're going to have a really big turnout because people are planning on going out and fishing. So this is a little experiment right there. So that's up and available, as is the scavenger hunt series. There's already a few anglers that have already jumped on, and I'm going to be posting some stuff actually from Kevin over at Biohazard Bassin, who is challenging some folks to get in on the scavenger hunt series. And I don't know, that could be pretty interesting. Could be pretty freaking interesting. Oh my goodness. Good stuff going on. It's been a good week. It's been a fishy week. I'm not going to complain. Things are pretty solid, but man, we got a lot to get to. Let's go ahead and do this. Mike, we're going to take a real quick break. When we get back, we're going to go to Just the Tip. We're talking about fishing and grass. All right. We've got gear selection, some lures that are tried and true. We're going to talk about the density of weeds and the density of the vegetation, because that's something that people just think like, oh, there's weeds. There is a spectrum of how many weeds and what type of weeds you're dealing with, and they can all be adjusted in different ways. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into that. We also have an FTG, which is just a classic Bobby Roast Beef FTG. That's coming up. We got Rachel Mullins, of course, Adventure Titties in the beef seat, and we got 3 different calls on the live well. Don't go too far, guys. We'll be back. We got more Jigs and Bigs coming up right after this.
And perhaps play a little game called Just the Tip, just for a second, just to see how it feels. Or ouch, ouch, you're on my hair.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so we are talking about fishing grass in this week's Just the Tip segment right here. We talked a couple of weeks ago about fishing in the dog days of summer, and vegetation was a major player in there. And it basically comes down to this. Why you should target vegetation, there's a couple of things. First off, in warmer water, we're talking like in the ballpark of like 60 degrees and above, bass will typically move shallow. Now, when it gets really hot, they are looking for shade, they're looking for cover, and they're also actually looking for oxygen, is the big one. Oxygen rich areas, that's where your vegetation's going to be. And it will hold a shit ton of fish. Vegetation equals shelter, an ambush zone, and food, and it's a bass hotspot. And if you're afraid of fishing the grass, you should really do yourself a favor and do everything you can to get a little bit more comfortable. As far as gear goes, It depends. It depends on the grass that you're fishing. Some people for thick vegetation, you're going to want something really heavy, and you're going to want like generally like a high speed bait caster, something where you can pick up a lot of line, and that's if you're like punching and into like a matted vegetation that's at the surface. If it's real thick vegetation, you want to be using braid. Braid's going to help you cut through some of that stuff. Some braid is really loud and it does a real good job of sawing through the shit. So, get comfortable with it. When you're talking about like sparse grass or fishing along the weed edges, you can 100% get by with like 20 pound to as light as like 15 pound fluoro with no problem whatsoever. Let's talk about specific lures. Now, a lot of people, when they talk grass, are like, oh, topwater frog. You want to fish this where there are thick mats. We're talking lily pads. We're talking about like hydrilla that's up at the surface, like where it's sloppy, because it's one of these situations where that lure is designed to work well. It's like the 4-wheel drive. It's like you're off road. When you're fishing that, everybody knows a frog rod. We're talking about a heavy rod. You're talking heavy braid that will cut the vegetation. You want to walk that frog or do steady chugs across the mats, make it look natural and let it stop. If you see like a little open pocket of water, that's helpful. Another presentation that works great is a Texas rig, like a creature bait or a worm. You want to punch them through mats, or you want to work them along weed edges. And you could if you're punching, especially if you peg a 3-quart peg, giggity. If you peg a 3/4 ounce to like 1.5 ounces weight and you throw it on heavy braid, you can just flip that sucker right in and it will punch right through that mat and get in there. And lots of times it's on that fall. That's the bite. That's where the bite's going to hit. You want to pitch it, let it fall, give it a short hop or two, dead stick it maybe for a second, and then bring it back in. You want to watch for when you have slack line, when it jumps a little bit, because those bites can be really subtle. So that we're talking about punch rigs. We're talking about, in any plastic, whatever you're into, whether it's a creature bait, a beaver style bait, a craw, or you want to, pitch a worm. You can do that as well. I think, Benny, this is probably one of your favorites, swim jig in grass.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Here in the notes, I've got, you want to use this around sparse grass, edges of milfoil or hydrilla. There's a couple of different rigs. Like primarily a lot of people, when they think like, oh, you're fishing grass, you fish, like 30 or 40 pound braid with a 7-foot, like medium heavy or heavy rod. You want to slow roll it and twitch that bait every once in a while. Really take advantage of that secondary action with the skirt. And for a trailer, you can use like some type of a craw trailer or something that's got a lot of vibration. Or you can throw I like to personally throw a large swim bait on the back of that. It's got a lot of kick. That larger profile will call fish sometimes. So especially when you get to the edge, if maybe you just pop out, but there's a fish nearby, that large profile might be enough to get some attention and get them to come over and bite. But I have thrown swim jigs on 20 pound fluoro with my, 7'1" medium heavy fast action rod and been fine. So you gotta take note of the type of grass that you're fishing. Like, are you able to get by? Benny, what about you? What are you typically throwing swim jigs on? And do you have multiple rigs where you change up from one, type of grass to another?
So here's where mostly I'm actually realistically only throwing it on 30 pound braid for the most part.
Yeah.
I don't really step up into that 40, 50 pound braid stuff unless I'm really if I'm fishing stuff that you could almost stand on because it's that thick, then I'm going to upsize my braid. One thing so there's a lot of places where when a mat is that thick, there's also sometimes stumps or wood in there. Mm-hmm. That's where you would want to think about, if it's feasible, doing a fluoro or something that's not braid, because if you have wood in there, when you go to set that hook, you're going to saw into that wood, and the combination of the heavy mat of grass with the fish, with the wood, you're going to break off every time. So there will be situations where I will go to and I'm not throwing like a 12 pound fluoro. It's 20, 30 pound stuff. It's a little higher because it will give you the ability to not get hung up. But for the most part, and a swim jig too, one thing that a lot of people don't think about, and it sounds really stupid to say it out loud.
Yep.
But a swim jig is a jig. So don't forget that you can flip a swim jig. Like I'll do it a lot with a paddle tail. I'm throwing a swim jig, but I will flip it up to the grass edge, let it fall, drag it for the first 2 feet, and then swim it back.
Yep. Because
you'll get the reaction bite from the fall. You'll get the dragging bite from like what you would get from regular flipping jig.
Yep.
And then you're covering all the water between you and that grass.
Yep.
So you're getting 3 retrieves in a single retrieve. And during the dog days of summer and during the days where you're going to go fish this kind of stuff, you're looking for a bite. So the more water and the more combo retrieves you can apply, the more likely you are to find a fish, because then you're like, okay, I didn't catch it on the flip. I didn't catch it on the drag. I caught it on the retrieve.
On the swim,
okay, so now I'm going to start retrieving and see if they're going to hit it there. And that's when you can dial in that puzzle.
You know, and that's the thing. I think too, like a lot of people, like, I think you nailed it. Like you're like, oh, you know, I'm throwing like 30-pound braid or something like that. A lot of that has to do with where you are in the country. Like when up here in New England, like, you know, we have a lot of grass in a lot of these lakes, but we don't have grass like Florida's got grass, like Alabama's got grass. Like there are other parts of the country where when you say vegetation, it's a different thing entirely. So like if you're throwing around sparse vegetation, throw that and swim it through. Because if you can get it, sometimes what I like to do is I'll find like a weed bed where like there's an open side of it and I'll cast up to where it's open, like where it's real shallow. And I'll just let that swim jig or whatever bait that I'm throwing, like today it was that minigun, you know, and I would just weave it through those weeds. A lot of people don't think about a bladed jig in grass, and that's what that shit's designed for, you know, especially maybe more sparse grass, not super heavy shit. Same thing with like a rattle trap, you know what I mean? Like if you throw a rattle trap over submerged grass like that, and same thing with a bladed jig or a spinnerbait, like that is fantastic. It's just enough vibration to bring those fish out and get bit. And I'm glad you mentioned flipping jig, because that's the next suggested bait. Where you want to fish a flipping jig is typically where there's a hole in vegetation. So you have a bed that comes up and you might see these little like channels that go in between where it doesn't seem like there's anything there. Flip that jig right in there. You want to focus too with a flipping jig around like reeds are really, really a good spot to go there. Throwing like a 1/2 ounce to a 1 ounce jig on heavy braid for thicker vegetation, on fluoro for more sparse vegetation. Drop it straight down, hop it a couple of times, reel that sucker in and move on. You want to use a compact trailer for easier penetration though, because that longer trailer right there, you want to make sure that this fish is just taking that whole jig right in their mouth and you're able to just jack them, because those bites are going to be, pretty subtle as well. The next one is a weightless Senko or a stick bait. You know, you can fish this. You can fish this wacky if you wanted to. I like to do these Texas rigged, and what I like to do is look around inside like a grass pocket or right on the edge or on those holes in between. You can throw it on whatever gear works best for that presentation. A lot of people think like it's got to be a spinning rod. It could be a bait casting rod. You know what I mean? You just want to be able to throw it on light enough line, like 12 to 15 pound fluoro, for example, and let that sucker hit the water, let it sink, twitch it a bit, dead stick it, and then bring it back in. Keep moving. It's ideal for, this is technically, or I should say specifically, this is great for post-frontal conditions because your fish, your bites are going to be a little bit fewer and far between. Sometimes it takes a little bit more subtle of a presentation to get that bite. Target your edges, your points where you've got grass, and irregularities that show up in that vegetation. So if you've got a spot where like there's some pads that pop up, but everything is all like hydrilla or coontail or something like that, you want to focus on those different areas, the transition spots where you have a change up. You want to punch through matted grass when the sun is high, because bass will typically bury deeper at that point in the day. Bass and vegetation often strike on the fall, so be ready. Your line might go running from you. You might just see a little bit of a tick in that slack line, and be ready to go ahead and just jack them. Use natural colors too in clear water, and I would suggest using darker colors in more stained water, heavily stained water. So to kind of break it down, let's go through it like this. For a frog, you want mats, pads. You want to use a heavy rod. You want to use braid. You want to action tips for you would be more to pause it in the pockets where you have some of that open water. Let it sit for a second before you start working it again. Or a Texas rig, we're talking about punching in edges, a pegged weight, a heavy braid. You want to let it fall, a couple of short hops, and then move on. For a swim jig, focus more on sparse vegetation. You want to use whichever rod generally makes sense for the vegetation that you're fishing. A steady retrieve with a couple of twitches. Take advantage of that secondary action on the swim jig. For flipping a jig into your vegetation, focus on stuff with like thicker stems, like reeds. You want to throw this on some pretty heavy gear. You want to drop it, hop it, and then get the hell out of there. And then for a Senko, of course, we're talking about clear water pockets. You want to use fluoro line or braid to fluoro if that's your preference. But you want to have a fluoro leader, and you want a slow fall with subtle twitches, so you're going weightless on this sucker. So yeah, I mean, grass is where you're going to find the bass in the dog days of summer because of the oxygen, because of the cover, and those two things together help to keep bass happy when the summer heat and pressure is just a bit too much for them. So you can do this. You can 100% do this.
Absolutely.
Find some grass, find some bass, and live your best life, you know?
2 quick tips on this, guys. So one, when you're punching, this is actually something I learned from Bailey. Right before your punch rig hits the water, thumb your spool. What that does is it forces the bait to flip over, so then the weight drops. Mm-hmm. So what that'll do is it'll prevent the bait from falling horizontally and landing on the mat. It'll actually go weight first, creating more gravity to punch straight down. Because that's what you're looking for, is you're looking for that straight fall. You want it to be fast, so they just react. The weightless Texas rig or wacky rig, don't be shy about throwing it back in that slop. Bring it across the tops of the pads, and when you find that hole, there's always a spot where there's just no pad. There was a rock there or something. Yeah, you got to find that hole, guys. When you find that hole, you let it drop in, and a lot of times, the big bass will slurp that thing up.
Yep. John makes a good point. He says plants make oxygen. That's 100% true. And that's why when that heat can deplete a body of water of oxygen, this is why they're going to go toward the plants right there. I'll tell you, one of the deadliest combos is if you get an edge of weeds that is meeting where the wind is blowing right into it.
Yep.
Buckle the fuck up.
It is.
Look for the magical greener grass too.
Yeah.
If you see like brown, kind of nasty, slimy grass, you actually sometimes that can deplete the oxygen in the water, because dying, like milfoil, for example, part of the decaying process actually removes oxygen. So the more healthy looking grass is where there's going to be more oxygen. And the other thing about grass that people don't think about, and it's actually where I learned this actually from doing the scavenger hunt series, is that guess what also lives in the grass? Bluegill, because they're eating the algae off the grass. So the bait that the bass is eating is in that same structure. Yep. So you're basically going to an area where your food source is. And the dumbest thing that I've ever been told in my life that I never thought about is bass don't have eyelids, guys. They can't close their eyes. So when the sun is high, they want to get under something. That's why they live under docks. That's why they live under pads. So don't hesitate to go in like 3 feet of water. If there's a mat over top of that, bass are in there and they're hiding 100%. From the sun.
100%. You nailed it, dude. You freaking nailed it. Let's go ahead. Let's complain about parking.
Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
So this This is a good. We haven't had a good like boat launch parking lot bitch sesh in a while. It's been a little bit. I don't know if maybe I'm getting a little bit more. I'm a little bit softer in my old age, and I'm not as judgmental. But man, this past weekend when I was out with Paul, there was a doozy. How did it play out? Well, it played out like this. I had we got into a point. I think it was like about 1 PM. Sun was right up overhead. We were just getting beaten to hell. We had fished further up into this reservoir than we ever had fished before. And I was like, Paul was exhausted. He was 100% exhausted. I'm like, how you doing, dude? And he didn't want to say, oh, yeah, let's call it. So I was like, let's go get some barbecue. He's like, I like that idea. Let's do it. So we motor on in, and we get there. And, of course, at the boat launch, we have an entire family fishing right at the launch because that's what they put them there for. They put the boat launches there not to launch boats. They put them there so you can fucking fish.
They're for camp chairs and fishing, right?
100%. 100%. It was like when we came out on the slot tournament. Same deal. My God. So I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. So I'm like, They kind of get the hint and they get away from the side because at this launch it sucks. There's really only one spot that doesn't have like giant rocks or something where I could beach the boat, even for a second, just to jump out. So I tell Paul, I was like, dude, as soon as I jump out, just motor back and like do a lap around in like the main part of the river till you see me come down. Now, earlier in the day, there was a guy, that first bass that I caught, that first 15, there was a guy who was in like a little like crawdad style boat. And he saw me pull this 15 out. He's like, oh, how big is that one? And we had a little conversation. And as I'm walking up, this is a very steep launch. As I'm walking up toward the parking lot, there's like a loop that goes around the front. So like when you pull into the parking lot, there's a loop up at the top and it drops you right at the top of what would be the ramp. So then you turn up the hill, straighten out, and then back right down. Okay. I see, as I'm walking up, I see this car come around with a trailer, and I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, is this guy going to try to launch right now? I'm like, I got this entire family here is fishing. I just want to get the boat out of here because, it was barbecue on the plan, So I make my way up, and as this car pulls around and goes up toward the top, I realize it's that crawdad. I'm like, that's weird, because when you would exit the parking lot, you wouldn't make the same turn to go around that loop. You would make the opposite turn to go out toward the road.
Right.
Like, that's odd. And it just struck me as weird. And then I got up to the top of the hill and I saw exactly why that guy was unable to make the fucking turn to go out to the street and had to loop around this way. Some fucking butt plug, right, decided to park his boat and trailer. Thank God. I mean, so at least he had the trailer on the boat. I think it was a Triton. I want to say it was a Triton trailer. And he was so fucking off kilter in this spot and sticking so far out that when I was parked right next to that spot, when I backed out, I almost had to take out the fucking Porta-John that was sitting right there. Like, thank God my trailer is that short. Like, I pushed up that rear bar where my license plate is right up against the Porta-John and had just enough space to pull away. I was like, Jesus Christ. If somebody was in there, they probably had a heart attack. Thinking they're probably just like, oh my God, this is the end. This is how I'm going out. And it was bad. So I'm like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. So I do the loop around. I drop the trailer in the water. Paul sees me, pulls up. I was like, wait until you see this, dude. Now, normally when I leave, I pull, and this is at any boat launch, I pull the boat out, and you've seen this, Binya. I pull the boat out, I go back to a parking spot, and I take everything, I break everything down there. I don't break anything down in the boat while I'm there. I do it while it's on the trailer in the parking lot in a parking spot. So this way, other people can utilize the facilities. Yep. Well, I get in there and I'm like, I can't go out that way. Like, and if I turn down that way, I'm fucked. So I said, I'm going to have to pull up straight as if I'm leaving. And there's a big no parking sign there, but I'm like, I'm not parking here. I'm like, I'm just going to put my flashers on, load everything up as quick as I can. It takes me as long as it takes me. And if anybody says boo, I'm going to be like, take a look at that asshole. I'm like, I have to go out this way. It's just the way it is. So yeah, to that asshole, fuck off. Figure it out. And this kind of put a little bit of fire in my belly. A lot of people have been asking about a Jigs and Bigs like passive aggressive like a laminated card that you could leave on somebody's dash that basically says you park like a douchebag.
Please listen to the next episode. You'll be on it.
I want so badly to create something like that. But it's just a matter of like the quality level. How do I get it to people? Like, do I make them and now I have to sell them myself? Like, I don't know. Or is it something that I could create a file and then people could just get it, print it, and laminate it themselves? I don't know. Would you guys let me know? If you're listening on Spotify, throw a comment in there. Throw us a suggestion over at the hotline if you want, or shoot us an email, jigsandbigs413@gmail.com. The hotline, I should jump in on that because the folks, they just got to know. Folks are using the hotline, and I'm here for it. But as far as the hotline is concerned, if you want to call or text us a suggestion, anything like that whatsoever, something for the live well, or you want to just give us some feedback on something like we're talking about, like this FTG, you can go ahead and give us a call and leave us either a voicemail or text us at 413-324-8519. Go ahead and put that number in your phones right now because somebody's going to piss you off, and you can utilize that to send over an FTG, and we're absolutely game for this. 413-324-8519. Eli has spoken. He says, make a file. Okay.
I have a suggestion too. So I saw one. I saw a template for one, and one side of it was a folded $50 bill.
Yeah.
So it looks like you put money in their window.
My favorite is to take those and put them in urinals.
Yep. So then when you flip it over, it literally said like you park like an asshole, but it had like it was a folded $50. It literally like had like they put a Post-it note that said just paying it forward or something. So they're like, oh my God, money. And then they flip it over and they're like, oh.
I kind of like that idea too. Yeah, I kind of like that too. Maybe what I'll do is though on the president's face for that bill, I'll put some sunglasses on with the Jigs and Bigs logo and the eyes.
There you go.
Something like that. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Or maybe just on the back, be like, hey, you're a piece of shit. You know?
I literally had almost the same thing happen to me on Sunday.
It's the time of year too. You know what I mean? It is.
I was trying to pull out of the ramp and like the classic, and this is something that if you're a wreck kayaker, I'm going to apologize right now. I'm about to make you mad, but you don't need to unload your whole car at the ramp. Get your boat off the car, go park, and then bring your crap down.
Yep.
So I had to deal with that. So then I finally got my kayak on the trailer and I pulled out. And as I'm pulling out, a guy drove around once, saw me loading mine up, drove around again, and started backing in when I was still coming
there.
out.
Yeah.
And this
Blocking
is one of those ramps
right?
that, like, it's wide enough for a car at the ramp, and there's like a little pathway to get out into the parking lot.
Yeah.
And he's backing in, and I'm like, and he's backing in like a huge, like 20-foot wake boat. So I had to park in the same thing. I had to park in the handicapped spot.
Yep.
To pack my trailer up. And then
I hate that
when
shit.
he pulled his boat back out, he then parked next to me, pinning me into the spot that I was stuck in while he's packing his boat down. So like, I'm like,
what are you doing,
my wife
guy?
is literally sitting there because you guys need to understand, and Bobby knows this because he's interacted with me in public with people.
Yep.
There's two types of people. There's passive aggressive. I'm aggressive.
Yeah.
There is no passive in my aggressive. Like she has to be like, it's okay. We'll wait.
Yeah.
Because I have literally gotten into people's cars and driven them off the ramp.
Really?
Or I will stand there at the boat ramp. Like what I'll do to the kayaker that's taking all day to pack his kayak up is I will stand next to him and go, can I help you with something? Do you need help lifting that?
Yeah.
Do you need help with that paddle? Do you want me to break your paddle? Like I will be just the most obnoxious person.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I had an instance like that. It was this spring. I was fishing over at Congamon Jr. and there was a guy, I know I talked about it on the show. He was like doing like outboard maintenance while his boat was like off to the side. And there was a kid that was loading his kayak and getting set up, but like the kid was too polite to tell the guy like,
hey, this isn't the time or place.
And he was like, the dude finally took off and he's like, I'm sorry, man. He's like, that's on me. He's like, I was like, nice enough kid, but I was like, totally here. Cause I go up and I'm fucking fuming. I'm just like,
Hey, you guys gonna let a bitch load or what?
Yeah. What I do, the one thing, I guess the only passive aggressive thing, which is kind of not really all that passive, is I'll pretend to call my wife. So I'll pull my phone out and I'll go, hey, babe, I'm going to be late because some asshole decided it was a good time to put all his rod sleeves on at the ramp. And then I'll walk back to my truck.
That's an awesome fucking move.
Because it's like they don't think I'm talking direct. Because I will admit, I'm in Vermont. I'm in a stand your ground state.
Yeah.
And that guy could be cocked, locked, and loaded and ready to shoot me if I get in conflict with him.
Damn, I just got a text right now from Topless Timmy Jakes. Remember that spot you and I were going to fish last fall and then it was gated off?
Yeah.
And we ended up going down to Oxbow. Well, he's like, yeah, I'm going to be at the ramp for 7 on Wednesday. Might have to do that. Got to experiment a little bit with that shit.
The ramp I drove 2 hours to get to, and then I'm like, hey, Bobby, is there supposed to be a gate here?
Chain normally on this gate? I don't know if...
I'm like, I'm pretty
apparently
sure
they did a bunch
go through
of
the gate.
upgrades.
I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's a padlock on this gate.
Just blast right through it, man. Fucking do what you want. We're going to take a short break, guys. We got Rachel Mullins, a.k.a. Adventure Titties, in the house. And Rachel talks about what it was like for her growing up in Michigan and doing some significant walleye fishing and then making the change over to what she's doing now, which is fishing for a lot of saltwater species. But she was also just in Montana like last week and was doing some fly fishing. So she is in that whole like Bobby roast beef arena of like just wanting to do a little bit of everything, and I'm here for it. So this is a great interview. I have a great conversation. You may have seen her in some music videos for artists like Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. She also was in the Entourage movie, if you've seen that. And from what I understand, I don't think she's credited in there, but I geeked out big time when I found out that she had a walk-on part on the League. Have you ever seen the League, Mike?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Such a good show, man. Oh, yeah. Fucking so good.
Watch it all the time.
So good. I love the League. It's great. You guys, we will be right back. Don't go too far. More Jigs and Bigs coming up. We got the beef seat segment coming right after this. All right, everybody. Bobby Roast Beef here with another guest in our beef seat here. We've got Rachel Mullins in the house. And I mentioned right before we started recording, I was like, Rachel, conventionally speaking, like overall, and we've had some people in the fishing world that were definitely more like household names and stuff like that. But by far, you are the most conventionally famous person I've ever had in the beef seat. So, you've got a title, your first segment on the show, which is pretty amazing. How are you this morning? How's everything going?
I am still recovering from ICAST. It was a lot of fun. And I'm leaving for Montana to go fly fishing with Chuck the Fly Guy on Sunday.
That's freaking awesome. Yeah. I love
living
that.
the dream.
That's awesome. And I love your folks, you might be familiar with Rachel on Instagram. She has you do live streams, you talk, you got to get into industry stuff.
Every Tuesday.
A lot of crazy stuff, and it's really quality content. Your Instagram handle is one that definitely, I'm sure, catches a lot of attention. You're known on Instagram as
Adventure Titties.
Yes.
Before we talk about how fishing came in and everything, like I kind of know how the story came with the post and everything, but like, how did this come to be? Like, enlighten all the listeners.
Okay, so the funny thing about Adventure Titties is, even though it's like, it's a funny thing to say.
Of course. You're talking to Bobby Roast Beef. Come on. Right?
It's like we go together.
We do.
You know?
We do.
But it was a secret account for years. And, back when Instagram and stuff came out, all of my modeling and acting agents were like, you have to get on Instagram. You have to get on Instagram. Yeah. I'm like, gross, lame. I was very dedicated to Twitter back in the day. Yeah. Not that I'm not now, but I just didn't love the idea of the platform because I'm an elitist snob. And I was like, but I'm in like real magazines. Like, why would I just post pictures, you know? That's crazy. But it's not in a magazine. It's not from Red Carpet. It's not TMZ. I'm like, oh, gross.
Yeah.
And then I saw people posting fish pictures and I was like, well, wait a damn minute now. Like, now I'm interested. So Adventure Titties was actually the first account that I had, and it was a secret. It didn't have my name on it. It still doesn't. It didn't have my name on it and nothing career related. Like, that was the whole idea, was that no movies, no TV, no music videos, blah, 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 whatever. It was just for fishing and kayaking and scuba diving and my Chanel Christmas tree and like whatever kooky harebrained ideas that I came up with. And it was like I said, it was a secret. So I was just like posting, doing whatever I wanted. And it's 3 summers ago now. It's probably like getting to be around time of my like viral anniversary. I posted a 16-second video of me fishing off the dock and it got 1 million views, which is crazy by any standard. But back then that account only had 750 followers. It was a real statistical anomaly.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, well, you know, the algorithm gods has spoken. And who am I to not answer the call? You know?
Oh, of course.
So,
you know, you got
so
to.
It blew up into the wonderful kooky community that it is now. And I absolutely love it. Like, it's crazy.
And they're supportive. Like the folks in your live streams, I've just seen a couple of them in the last couple of weeks. And I'm just like, you're like friendly with the folks that are jumping in and stuff. And like, that's unbelievably cool.
It's kind of a repurposed leftover situation from the podcast that I had back in the day.
Gotcha.
So I did over 150 episodes of a show that was live, and then the network would rip the audio and then turn it into a podcast. Where I covered all things #MeToo, but from inside of Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so very, very heavy show because I knew everybody and it was on Public House Media. So there were some rules about it and I couldn't say anything, but I said a lot.
Yeah.
So I kind of repurposed that skill, I guess you could say, for Adventure Titties. And it's so much fun. And the best part about live streaming is that it's like an active conversation. Like they're not talking at people, you're talking with them.
Exactly.
And that is very, very important for community building.
For sure. 100%. It's like you get that instant gratification. It's not a comment section. You know what I mean? Like you get that instant, you know, the people are able to comment right there, but it's all live and it's happening. I completely get it. And I feel like, to be honest, on a tangent, like I think like the idea, a lot of people try to blur podcasting and live streaming like they're the same thing, and they are very much different things.
Very different skills.
Yes.
Very different skills.
And I wish like more people kind of like thought about that, because I call this thing like lazy podcasting, where people will do a live stream and they dump it. And like, I get it. You're capitalizing on there being like that archive of having stuff going on, but they're completely different. Let's dive into the fishy stuff. So when did you start fishing? Like, walk me through your relationship with the outdoors. Who was it in your life that introduced it to you? Like, walk us through the point now where like the passion was just like, I'm rolling with this.
It may have been in utero. My grandparents were charter boat captains. My great grandparents fished. Presumably their parents fished. So, I mean, probably from day one, my dad may have put a pole in my hand. Like it could have happened, but
sure.
Like I have some early memories, but I would imagine it was from jump. Like that's what I was told. And my aunts have, you know, archives of pictures from a million years ago.
Yep.
So basically my whole life, and it's very interesting to me. I'm deeply fascinated by people who picked up fishing, hunting, etc. like later in life.
Oh yeah. That's me.
Because that's like that's a gnarly thing to pick up. Like I can't imagine like going out and learning as an adult, which is one of the reasons why like there's so many people in this, you know, industry that like teach and things like that. Like I don't even think I could teach because I don't remember being taught. So there's not much to like pass.
That's a good point, because you're right. Like sometimes I don't mean this in a negative way, but like you you sort of go through the motions as a youngster, and like, especially when it's so young that you don't like, I mean, come on, I'm getting unbelievably much older, and I don't retain the memories from my childhood. Like, thank God there's picture albums and things like that for me to be able to like trigger some of this stuff. But like, I don't remember how I first learned like how to ride a bike. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where like you almost kind of take that stuff for granted. So like when you've just been doing it forever, you don't necessarily always think about it. What are the species that you were targeting? Like what type of fishing were you doing as a youngster?
Okay, so I'm from Michigan, and my dad was not a bass guy. So we were out
guy,
for walleye.
Yeah.
We were out for walleye. And when I say die hard, because like night fishing is still to this day like my favorite situation.
Yep.
And when I tell people, especially in saltwater, I'm like, let's go night fishing, they're like, what? And I'm like, what do you mean what? That's the best time. But yeah, because where I'm from in Michigan too, like walleye, salmon, and trout, like that was a twice a day situation. Like me and my dad would get up and go in the morning at like, 5 or 6 a.m. We'd be at the boat launch by 6.
Yep.
And we'd be out for salmon and trout all morning. And then at night we would switch to trolling for walleye.
That's awesome. That is.
And that was the circuit.
And it's crazy. This year I fell in love with Michigan fishing. I went to St. Clair for the first time. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, I met up with a listener. We stayed at a Verbo right on the lake. And we one of the things we do at Jigs and Bigs is we run a nationwide tournament series, a couple of them. We do a multi-species scavenger hunt, and then we do every month we do a bass slot limit tournament. So it's catch as many as you can within a specific size, and the size is intended to level the playing field. So like somebody in Michigan or in Massachusetts where I am, they can compete against somebody in Florida or Texas or something like that. And it kind of keeps it level. We went up there. I scheduled it. It was Easter weekend. It was absolutely amazing. I had some of the best. I caught my PB smallmouth, caught my PB steelhead. That was a story. Like, it's just crazy. But Michigan fishing, Midwest fishing, period. But yeah, Michigan now has a soft spot in my heart for sure. And the walleye fishing, I've never caught a walleye before, but it is like a lot of people talk like bass fishing is like the shit for freshwater folks. You know what I mean? But I think that walleye fishing is like right there. It's like they're both at cult status, you know?
Really, I keep having people tell me about walleye fishing now that I'm a grown up, and they're like, oh, they're so hard to catch, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, they are? Like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Because we had a system when I was a kid, and I'm going to share it. Okay, so what we would do is, Rapala makes sort of like a longer situation, and they make a deep diver and like a shallow lip one, but you want the deep diving one.
Yep.
The thunder stick, and you just troll 2 to 4 of them behind the back of the boat, like with some juice on it, and all the time. While we're on the subject of walleye fishing, there was one night that we had so many on at one time, like we couldn't manage, right? And for the Michigan State school test, like, standardized testing that you do when you're like 4th grade or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I wrote about that as my like writing piece. I wrote about walleye fishing, and I think they gave me some like $1,700 thing to like Michigan schools that I never used. But that was my story, was walleye fishing when I was in 4th grade.
I'll bet you when they were going through those, that like tugged at some heartstrings from like even just family members of the committee and shit.
It better have.
Yeah, 100%.
It better have.
It really is. It's wild. And it's funny, like you talk like trolling for walleye is like, it's so effective. But again, like bass anglers typically just can't handle that. Like I recently went out, I bought my first boat last year, and I bought a Lund. I didn't buy a bass boat, I mean, I like to fish for all types of different stuff, but I wanted something versatile. So I picked up my boat, and I was like, I want to be able to troll if I decide I want to go down that road. And the first summer out, I would fish a couple of like decent trout lakes around here where folks, you would always see 2 or 3 boats just doing laps trolling. And I'm like, that's not for me. Not yet. Like when I'm 65, 70 years old, that might be for me. But like right now, I'm like, I just need to be a little bit more active. But I mean, I thank you for sharing your system. I appreciate that big time. I really do.
You're welcome.
And I mean,
oh yeah, well, and trout trolling too. Like those, I swear, trout and salmon, they get together with a committee every year, and they're like, "This is the color that we're into. That last color, it's bullshit. It's out. It's dead. It's over."
Yep.
And you find the color that they're into for the season, and you just troll that on downriggers, like throughout the water column, like depending on where you're marking, and they'll hit it. It's amazing.
Yeah, you just got to get it right. And sometimes you're right. I think there's like a board. Maybe there's like a Reddit page that we don't know about on the fish web.
So we're not abreast to. Absolutely.
I love breast. Let's talk more about, so we're getting kind of dialed with like your fishing and stuff like that. What are your specific confidence presentations? Like, what are you like, I need to get bit? Like, what are the things that you're going to lean on heavy?
Ooh, I always feel like that's lunar and weather dependent.
Oh, okay.
So like back to the subject of walleye, like say you can't night troll. Say that's just not an option for you for whatever reason. If it's dark outside, like overcast and shitty out, if you put night crawlers on like on a harness and you just drift over the spots, that's another really effective way to get it too.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So I think it's like weather dependent, like for offshore fish, you're living and dying by the tide, and like maybe even more so for inshore fish. But I think reading the weather and the lunar cycle and then making your game plan from there is more effective than like a good old tried and true. Because these things, they change their mind and then they change it again.
Oh yeah.
So
you're right. Yeah. It's true. Something isn't like tickling their fancy and they're like, no, I need a slightly more vibration, or that's the wrong color or whatever it is. No, that's a good point. No.
Yeah, it's what they're trying to predict that mood at the time for those situations. Like if you're coming off of a cold snap or it's real dog ass hot outside and there's no wind, like changing up for that and not being married to something. Sure. As it's totally gonna work. I think that's probably really more so my go-to.
I try often because I ask all the time, people, or I get questions all the time from listeners that will ask about what can I throw that's going to like guarantee it's going to get it done. I'm like, that thing doesn't exist. I'm like, it just doesn't. Like, and like, well, one of the other things too, it's like when people say like, oh, I like throwing this lure because it catches fish. I'm like,
no shit. Every lure catches fish.
Like there's no magic. It's just I hate to say it, like I always say all the time that fishing is one part science to one part art, but there's a little tiny sliver of luck that's in there. Like there is, like the fish, like you can find them, but you've got to figure out what the hell they're eating. And then, when you're looking for quality of fish, that's where the luck comes in. Is that right fish where you think?
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's I think more or less that's a situation. Now you mentioned ICAST before. We don't really cover ICAST so much on the show, only because we kind of wait till like this stuff is showing up at like the expos and it's in stores and everything, so we can get like hands on and we can give somebody some sort of real like first hand experience. We have some friends that were at the show that you got to meet, specifically Cupcake Coley.
Yes. Her and I did a live stream from the Grande Bass booth.
I saw that one. Coley's a homie. Like, we had her on the show a few years ago, and we got connected through Hooks at Hoodlums. I'm wearing their shirt now. She is an absolute sweetheart, absolutely unbelievable, and like to see what she's done with fishing. Like she's gotten into her own kayak now, and she's all this other stuff. It's really cool to see. But there was something that I bring that up because one of the things about Jigs and Bigs is like we have. It's still a minority slice of the analytics here, but we have a sizable amount of women that listen to the show. And one of my things, I have two daughters, so I am all about like making sure that my girls, if they want to do whatever they want to do, trust me, they don't want to fish with their dad hardly ever. Like once a year, I'll get them on the boat. But I just want to make sure that even their friends, whomever, like they have access to information and everything else. We're huge supporters of women in fishing. You were at an event that I think was really awesome. and it was the Angling Women in Action dinner. Can you tell me a little bit about?
Favorite.
Can you tell me a little bit about the organization, but also like the event and like, you know, what it is that they're doing for women? Because I can only imagine like the support within that room is probably out of this world.
Oh, it's incredible. It's my favorite. Listen, the line cutters party on Thursday is banging, but
Sure.
The ladies' dinner on Wednesday is just, it's my favorite thing. And like, truthfully, I make Wednesday happen so I can be at that dinner. This
awesome.
year, I didn't get to do Pond Day because my old boyfriend had a tour stop in Jacksonville on Tuesday.
Yep.
So I couldn't leave until like Wednesday morning, and I was lagging, bagging, and dragging. Like, thankfully, their bus call was at like 11:30 or something,
that's good.
and I got to cut and run. But even still, like I was like pushing it to get to Orlando so I could pick up my badge and be at the ladies' dinner on time.
Yep.
And I made it, thank God.
That's awesome.
But BB runs Angling Women in Action, and she puts that dinner together every year. Thankfully, Maggiano's in Orlando hosts us, and it's delicious.
That's awesome.
And it's just a bunch. It's all not all the ladies that come to ICAST, because there's several that are at brands and they're at team dinners and stuff like that. But it is quite a lot of us. And like, that's not this past dinner, but the one before last year. That's when I met Carolyn and Patricia of the Pink Ladies, and I got absorbed onto a tournament team, which is
that's awesome.
Absolutely, incredible. Because I'm one of those people, like, if you invite me to something, I'll probably show up, like, on time and under budget. And Karen was like, "Oh, you gotta come fishing with us. You gotta come stay at my house." And I'm like, "I will hold you to that, woman. I will show up." And I did fight cancer or have just survived it. So there's a boat, we have a tournament, there's a whole thing. It's absolutely amazing.
That's unbelievable.
But yeah, I've met some really incredible ladies, and from that dinner specifically, because, and Dan Hernandez will tell you this more than anybody because he's been putting up with me for so long. But I was one of those people that, like, I booked a night charter out of Hullover many, many years ago through like a Groupon or something. And I show up to the dock with my matching stuff at like 9:00 at night. And they're like, "Are you in the place?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." They're like, are you like with someone? And I was like, "No, I'm in Miami by myself." And they're like, "We've been in business for 30 years and we've never had a single lady book a night charter." I'm like, "Well, here she is, bitch." Like,
that's awesome.
And that's kind of kept happening until, the Angling Women in Action dinner, because like, I used to do the televised trips with Dan Hernandez. And we did the overnight boat out of Oxnard, which is that of legend, by the way. It's amazing. I was the only lady on that trip. And I'm probably the only lady that like booked it by themselves. So that, honestly, BB is incredible just as a person, and she always outdoes herself with the cocktails and the decor. But for me, the Angling Women in Action dinner, like, it has given me visibility to like so many other ladies that do the same thing as me. And you're not the only person booking the thing. Now you've got several boats in the tournament with, so many of us, which is amazing.
That's awesome. And that's the thing. Like, it's a group like that gives that little boost of like, hey, I'm going to go and get this. You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's a lot of folks like that. I don't know. Like you said, the reaction when you showed up for the charter, and they're just like, we don't get too many single women that go and do this. Like, I think we need to change that. You know what I mean? More, you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I saw that you were, somewhere on Instagram, you had posted that you were all about connecting and going on as many fishing trips as possible. You mentioned earlier that you're doing some fly fishing, which I think is awesome.
I don't know how to fly fish. I asked Dick Cheney to teach me a few years ago, and he said no. So it's his fault that I can't fly fish. So Chuck the Fly Guy is going to fix that.
Well, you got somebody to stand in. That's perfect. Right? You're good to go. What are some of your favorite trips that you've been on? Or like even more specific, like what are some of the bodies of water that have been like some of your favorite to hit?
Ooh, that's an interesting question. I'm very lucky in that I've fished all over the world. Like, I fished in Thailand, across the U.S. I've got, all over the place. Jamaica.
So yeah, you've got exposure to species that like some people in the States will never have exposure to.
Yeah, I mean, I've been all over the place, but like, I don't know that I have like a specific favorite that like stands out against everything. Like, it's all cumulative, right?
Gotcha.
Like, all of the things that I've got to do. Because like the grouper that I was catching in Jamaica, like it wasn't amazing or anything, but it was interesting to be on a boat with Jamaican guys that have never really left the island.
Yeah.
And they like to fish with like cracked up conch and stuff like that. And it wasn't necessarily about like, oh my God, I got this great. I mean, it was delicious. Don't get it
Sure,
twisted.
yeah.
Grouper makes a great sandwich. But I don't know that it was like a specific situation. I didn't fish when I was in the Maldives because that's kind of a tough thing to do, but I was scuba diving there. So I have to say, if there's a body of water that's like ruined me for the rest of the world, it's the Maldives.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, I can imagine.
the water's so blue, it's basically annoying.
Yeah.
Like, it's a different level. Hawaii's up there too. It's just not quite the Maldives.
I can imagine that where it would like you're just like, especially like when you scuba dive it and you're like, I'm immersed in this and this is stupid. This is ridiculous how crazy, this environment is. What about like your short list of favorite species? Do you have any that you're just like that have your heart?
I think cobia for like saltwater is definitely up there.
Yep. I know you got a
cobia was like
I was gonna say I know you got a new PB. Was it a kingfish?
Yeah,
Recently.
It was a king.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was like the week before ICAST too. It was amazing. I was out fishing with one of my followers that like became my friend, Tim, and the bottom bite was like absolute trash, and we switched to trolling. And as soon I was sitting there like on the helm, like harumph, I need a fish, and there she was.
There you go.
It was perfect. It was perfect. But yeah, I think cobia is probably like for saltwater has like just captivated me.
Yep.
A couple years ago, I got a double up on a cobia. Like I had two, I think it was two pogies down on like the same line.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, man, this is heavy. Cranking it up. And cobia, like they hang out with other fish and, or if you bring up a shark, like the whole reef comes with them.
Yeah.
And I see these two cobia and I'm like, am I catching two cobia at the same time? Like, is this really happening to me? Which was amazing. It was a double cobia. It was fantastic. And then that 47-inch cobia that I caught was my PB on cobia. Or probably, like, if you don't include sharks, like, ever. So cobia's got me in, like, a little tryst, I guess.
No, that makes sense. How about freshwater species? Is there anything that you're just like, I'm always going to go and chase that?
Yellow perch.
Oh my God. Yes.
That was okay. So people think that I posted that video of me fishing off the dock in a robe was like a ploy, but it wasn't. Like I happened to be in the pool and I didn't want to put clothes on because I never do. When I used to do my old podcast live stream, I would, most of the time I'd be wearing like a pink robe. And it got to a point where if I didn't wear the robe, people would be like, where's the robe? Where's the robe?
Yeah.
It became a character on the show. But I really just wanted to go catch a snook, and I popped out of the pool to like try to go do that. I still haven't caught a snook, but I've been fishing off the dock my whole life. Like that's what I would do when I was a kid.
Sure.
Is I would go pull perch off the dock and turn them into sandwiches. So I'll never not be perchy as far as freshwater goes.
Perch are fantastic. They're one of the few native freshwater fish here in Massachusetts. And, the jumbo perch are so much fun. In fact, it's a primary like forage that I use to catch other species is perch. They're so abundant here. And big ones are absolutely amazing. But one of the things I've recently gotten into is bait finesse fishing, where you're throwing bait casting gear, but for ultralight lures. And it makes catching those species so much fun. Like it's an absolute trip. It's unbelievable. Let's get into like your ideal sort of like fishing trip. And this is where like we get into like more like fishing adjacent stuff. Let's say like wherever you're based out of and you're out, you take a day, maybe you're pond hopping, maybe you're out on the salt or something like that. I'm always curious, and I am taking notes because I want to visit these places. And I'm looking specifically, ideally for like mom and pop spots. Where is the place and what are you ordering to celebrate a great day on the water, or just to like drown your tears in like a great meal after you're done fishing?
Oh, that's funny. There's a lot of them. Okay, so for Jacksonville, North, like, so the fish camp is the answer to both, but different locations.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, there's tons of fish camps. So like there's one in North Jacks off of Heckscher that me and Captain JB went yesterday because we caught nothing pond hopping. He broke a rod. It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
So we went to Palms Fish Camp yesterday. I take people there like if they're in town. Like I took Steven and the rest of his band and their roadie, because they have Tuesdays and Thursdays off on that tour, I think. Yeah, something like that. And they're like, this is the best thing that we've had on tour so far.
That's awesome.
Everybody loves it. But if you're on the other side of Jacksonville, because Jacksonville's huge, there's Palm Valley Fish Camp in Ponte Vedra. Both have dock space, so you can take the boat. And
that's great.
If you're in St. Augustine, my old go-to, but they just tore it down last month, was Kingfish and Comanche Marina. But Conch House, not great food, but it's just
the vibe.
It's a scene. And it's the vibe. And they have alligators. They have alligators on loan from the alligator farm. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. The Conch House Marina is just like it's such a vibe. If you really need to like drink your feelings, definitely pull up to the Conch House for sure. Yeah.
That's perfect.
If you don't have a drinking problem, you need to get one. Conch House for sure. And then outside of that, actually, there's another fish camp option with the dock in St. Augustine, so that's also an option. But Hurricane Patties, I absolutely love in St. Augustine too. They have their marina is mostly sailboat people.
Oh yeah.
So that's obviously like a different version of salty people. But their back bar is fantastic. And sometimes I drive all the way to St. Augustine because they have Majorcan clam chowder, because there's a very small population of Majorcan people in St. Augustine that brought daddle peppers. So it's become like, it's not native, but it's beloved.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Well, hey, good to know. I'm curious.
All great places.
Because you're on social media, you talk fishing and all that stuff. What are a couple of things that like maybe people have asked you? Like, what are some of the biggest questions people hit you with, or some of the most common, I should say?
The most common, I mean, people always ask me like, oh, what do I like to catch, or like, what do I want to catch? Those are usually the most common questions, and also like, where are you? Because I'm constantly like ping-ponging places, and this, I kind of think this is like a Florida specific thing, but when I say West Coast, I mean the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the Gulf. So that's like a different thing, and that's probably what I get asked the most is, what do you really want to catch, or like, what's going on with that? But also like, where are you? Because I'm constantly ping-ponging around. So like that's usually the follow-up question is like, where in the world is Rachel now? Because it's hard to keep up, which is understandable.
Oh, totally. Now, obviously, you do a lot of traveling. This is something that a lot of our guests don't necessarily have as like either a good or bad problem, but first off, do you try to fish whenever you travel? And if you do, how are you outfitting yourself? Are you, is there like a specific setup that you bring for travel specific?
No, I haven't ever. Well, that's not true. When I lived in California, but I would come to Florida and fish, I do have a travel rod for that I bought when I was like 17 from a Walmart, and I still have it. It was from a Keys trip that I took as a teenager, and I've still got it, and I still use it. And I use it in California too, but that's like my travel rod.
Yep.
But most of the time, like when I showed up in places, like whether it be Jamaica or the UAE or wherever, like ? I was just kind of going with whoever mistook me.
Yeah,
you know?
there you go. and that definitely works too, you know?
Yeah, I'm not, this is like an unpopular opinion, but like, I don't necessarily mind rental stuff. And the same for scuba diving. Like, there's a lot of people that are like, I need to have all my own stuff for scuba diving, but I don't like schlepping. The schlepping and the cleaning and the blah, blah, blah. Like, it's really not for me. So I don't mind renting and dealing with it and then giving it back and keeping it pushing. Like, to me, my whole operation is very tiny. Like, I drive a tiny car. I usually just rock a carry-on. Like, I just don't have all of this like room and capacity.
Yeah, you're not bringing every single piece of kit with you for every single, outing or something like that. I totally get that.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the way when I bank fish, it's entirely different than when I'm on my boat. When I'm on my kayak is much more similar to when I'm on my boat, but it's still even downsized, Let's talk your favorite like method of fishing. Like, what do you prefer? Are you more into like being on the water, or are you just a sucker for pond hopping?
Not a sucker for pond hopping. I'll do it. Yeah. Like the other day, Captain JB was like, let's not take the boat out. Let's go pond hopping. I was like, all right, whatever, let's do it. I mean, these titties adventure. That's what they do. That's the whole point. So I'm down for an adventure, period. But if it's like up to me, we're going offshore all day, every day.
Gotcha.
Twice on a great lunar cycle. Like that's for me. And like, I understand why people think trolling is boring, but I'm so happy doing it that it's sometimes I prefer it. Like, drifting is cool. It's neat. Especially because the way that the current's going to move you. But I love trolling with like a really great spread behind the boat.
Well, and the thing is with trolling, it's true. Like, and I think the same could probably be said for a lot of like alternate techniques. Once you have some, I don't even want to say proficiency, but some results behind you where you're like, this is working, it goes a whole lot way. It just builds confidence in that technique. You're probably going to learn this when you're fly fishing. I've only fly fished twice. And it's amazing. I had it way wrong, Rachel. I thought this was because I am more of a finesse fisherman. I'm one of these people who likes to look at a piece of cover somewhere and I'll pick it apart. I'll throw a jig, the smallest I can get away with in most cases. And, I'll pick something apart and be really, really analytical about where I put stuff. That is not necessarily fly fishing. It's way more active than you think it is. And I had a blast each time. I'm sure that there's somebody that's going to be like, that's not always the case, Bobby. I'm sure that's the situation. But like, you're drifting a fly to a specific point and it's moving as fast as that current. And then when you're at a specific spot, you're making another cast. And you're just, it was a ton of fun. And then to go on the flip side of that, a couple of years ago, I got into big swim bait fishing just to kind of dabble and see what it was all about. And like, if you want to talk about like a cult, that's a cult of anglers right there, 100%, because they are the most dedicated in what they do. And I respect them beyond everything, but they are like, they're like, yes, I bring this one presentation and that's what I'm throwing for 6 hours or 8 hours or however long I'm out here. And what I found is that like, that was more finessey to me because I'd be throwing a glide and I'm like calculating reel turns to get that bait to react a specific way, like in clear water. And it was really, really amazing to me. But like, I think you're going to have a blast. I hope you get on them when you're out fly fishing. I really do.
I do too.
I do too.
Cause like I enjoy trout. I went, high alpine ice fishing in February in Colorado. And I haven't caught trout in like forever. Like, I haven't gotten a trout slam since I was a kid. So that was like my grown up trout slam. That's awesome. Versus, doing it when I was a kid. But they were all, like this, but they fit great in a taco. So it was fun.
That's what I'm saying. They're delicious. I'm working on, I'm trying to do a YouTube video soon, a catch and cook, a trout one. And I've had this piece of equipment forever. It's a small indoor smoker. And I want to use it while I'm camping and smoke trout and make like kind of like a bagel spread with it. And like,
Okay.
I'm a little bit fancy, Rachel. I don't know if you're aware of this or not. Bobby Roast Beef likes to
He's a
throw
little
down in the
bougie.
woods.
He's a little bougie.
100%. Not going to lie about that at all. Let's get into like some of that. Now, I know you've traveled a bunch and everything, but is there anything on your itinerary that you're like, I want to be in this spot at some point? Like a destination where you're like, I want to go and fish at this place? And is there a species?
It's going to take... it's not necessarily a species thing. It's because it's a personality thing. So there's a place, there's a piece of water south of Cuba called the Queen's Garden. Obviously, nobody's allowed to fish it because of the commies in charge.
Yes.
So my personal life mission is to make friends with the federale and be like, well, we can let the communism slide for a day. For Adventure Titties to fish the Queen's Garden.
I was going to say, if there's one person I think that's going to get the pass, I think Adventure Titties is going to fish those Cuban waters and then have a Cuban sandwich and be delighted.
Yeah, I'd be like, see, we're great, done, off and away, like never to be bothered again. Yeah, I think that's just a personal personality thing, though. But everything down there is absolutely gargantuan because there's nobody can fish there.
Yeah, there's zero pressure. Think about it.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's crazy. Are you a believer in like fishing spots or like, specific bodies of water or regions that just have a vibe? And if you do, what's your vibe? Like, what do you like? This is the element. Like for me, I really like St. Clair's a fucking vibe, dude. And I cannot wait to go back. It's a 12-hour drive if I don't go through Canada, and I would do it now. We would end this interview and go now. It made an impact. What's that body like? Do you think that way about bodies of water? And if so, like what's your vibe? What do you think you fit best in? And if you do, give me a fresh and a salt.
One is just a nostalgic one. So where my lake house is in northern Michigan, like it's way out there. Like I don't even think it has a real address.
Like UP out there?
No, it's not quite. It's still on the lower peninsula. It's just south of Traverse City, but it's a hot salmon spot.
All right. Nice. Yeah.
So where that is like obviously very special to me. But on the subject of yellow perch, not really offshore, because you can still see the dunes, but like off of Arcadia, if you go south, there's a rock pile that, because yellow perch love crawdads, that's like their personal crack. They grow fat off of that rock pile. So
I believe
that's that's definitely a special spot. Although I haven't fished that in a million years. But also St. Augustine has become like, I had never been there before I moved there, and it's such an incredible piece of water. Like the intercoastal is so special, and not necessarily for fishing, but because of the way that it moved and changed history. Yeah. That part of the intercoastal in St. Augustine is treacherous because of the way the tide goes and the oyster shoals and that, those things. But where the Comanche boat ramp is a super special body of water because they could bring tall ships back there that needed more draft than anything in the world. And they could get really close to land so they could get out real quick, refit the boat, fix whatever they needed to fix and get back on their way. So, and that shaped the America that we know now because they were able to do that. And where the fort is on land, it looks like this big gargantuan thing. But when you're coming from the water, it's actually like very sleek, and you would never know that it was there in the dark until they were shooting at you. So like you would never know. It's one of those pieces of water that, like, with no electronics, without Garmin, you would absolutely run aground. And the people that found that place took advantage of that for sure. Hardcore. The Volano Inlet, so like the north end of Anastasia and the south end of Volano, that inlet right there, it's treacherous on a good day, like just the way the waves go. But back in like the 1700s, they would keep ox on either side, and they had a chain underneath the inlet, And if they saw somebody coming that they didn't like from the inlet or from the lighthouse, they would pull it taut and just slice the boat to shreds, and then they would all die and get smuggled.
That's wild history from one spot. You know what I mean? Just an absolute bloodbath.
It was, well, that's why the Matanzas is called the Matanzas. Yeah. Because apparently, I think he came from Portugal, but they said that some conquistador came and he killed so many people that the intercoastal ran blood for 3 days. So that's why it's called the Matanzas.
Jesus. Wow. That is nuts. Yeah, I'd say it's a vibe. That's a vibe.
It's definitely a vibe. Definitely a vibe.
Let's talk now. When you're fishing, do you like listening to music or anything else, or are you more like you're trying to disconnect and it's all about the nature?
It's all about the nature, but it's because I'm not a big fan of noise.
Gotcha.
So, period. Like when I'm like looking at boats and things, people are like, yeah, we got JBLs and we got this. I'm like, keep them. Like, I'm not trying to hear this nonsense. I really enjoy the music business,
sure.
That piece of entertainment. I really enjoy from the business standpoint, but I don't really care too much about music. And, I prefer for it to be off.
Gotcha. Okay. Fair enough. I asked that question because I'm usually, so like, is there something that you listen to like get hyped up on your way to the water? No.
The hype is in here.
There you go. The hype is I'll definitely take that. That's respectful right there. It's wild. Like we get a mix of answers to that question because some folks are just like, when I'm out there, I am disconnecting. I don't want to hear anything. Plus I don't want to miss something. And I'm like, I completely understand that. On the other hand, sometimes like when I'm fishing, I use music to my advantage. Like if it's a day like this time of year specifically where I know I have to slow down. You know, I have playlists of music that are like more like slow blues or something like that, like slower tempo stuff as just a reminder. Because that's the thing. My career, what I do is I have an entertainment business and I host game shows multiple days a week and it's called speed quizzing. So I try to stay on it. It basically deters people from cheating. If you're going so fast, they don't have time to, you know what I mean? It works great. And I have a very, very quiet bed of music that goes behind me, but it's like super high BPMs. And I just do that as a reminder, like, hey, next question, hey, next question, hey, next question. And I'll do the exact opposite with fishing, or if I need to, like, because I said I'm a little bit more of a finesse guy. If I need to, I'll put something on that's a little bit higher energy when I'm like, okay, we're burning, spinner baits or something like that. And whatever it is like, hey, don't slow down too much, man. They're reacting here. And I discovered this year, and I'm a little embarrassed to say this because I'm not a fan of this band of Creed at all. Okay. But I stumbled on, I was on the boat and we were struggling. It's just that's St. Clair. And it's on video. And I said, this is Easter Sunday, 420. So there was some celebration happening as well. Lots of fish whistle activity. And I tell my buddy, I go, look, man, we decided to go and fish this one ledge that we had been looking at on a map. I don't have any electronics on my boat. So we were all doing this based off of like GPS on our devices and like marking spots with topo maps. Old school shit, minus the GPS. And we get out to this one spot and I'm like, we had on like a 420 playlist or something like that. It's these two guys like creeping into their 50s listening to like stoner rap. And it's all good. We're having a good time. And I was like, I think I got to do it. He's like, what do you mean? I said, I put Creed radio on and all of a sudden they just started biting. So I did. And it's on video, and I said, I go, I'm going to throw right now. And there was some Creed song on, and I go, if I get bit, I'm going to buy tickets to a show. And I got that yellow perch on video with everything playing in the back. I'm like, you son of a bitch. So it's one of these things where like, and I've kind of wrestled with it a little bit. I'm like, is there a luck thing here? I don't know, So I keep that in my back pocket, but it's just, I'm always just curious to see like where people are, when they're listening or I hear a lot of people say the same thing. They're like, oh, that's when I listen to my fishing podcasts. And I'm like, that's unbelievable. Once people started answering the question with that, we made a Jigs and Big speaker that you can get from the Jigs and Big store. So you're like,
that's just fabulous.
If you want the juice, get it coming out of the right device, It's all good.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about aligning vibes, like that's alignment.
It's a vibe. It's for sure a vibe. Let's talk about
one.
do you have anything coming up that you want to mention or like anything like, I know you do live streams every Tuesday. Do you have any like specialty stuff that's coming up or anybody that you're working with?
Montauk Fishing is coming on my Tuesday live stream. I think not this coming one because I'll be in Montana, but I think the week after. And then nobody's like on the books after that, but that is one of the reasons that I do go to iCast is to go, outside of brand stuff.
Sure.
Is to go get more folks.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Stream. Those events are ideal for that. The expos, like all of them, you go and you make connections, and then, the content always comes after the fact. It's awesome. There's one of my favorite expos is the Columbus Fishing Expo in Ohio. Have you ever been to that one?
Ohio? Yeah. No, I haven't. That's crazy. I haven't lived in the Midwest though since I was a teenager, so. I haven't been around. It's
amazing. A great group of folks, like unbelievable, like just the sense of community, but the diversity, because you get a lot of bass heads that are there. A lot of people, specifically in that part of the country, are chasing bronze bass all over the place. But the walleye community is in full support. The catfishing guys come out of the woodwork, and it's like, it's so cool. And here we are, Jigs and Bigs. We try to advocate multi-species, everything. And we paint, as anglers, we paint ourselves in some corners sometimes. And it's like, we still like to catch wild animals with gills, with a hook. At the end of the day, it's all the same, forward facing or not. What's your hot take on forward facing sonar?
Definitely.
I have to ask.
The what?
What's your hot take on forward-facing sonar? Is it ruining the sport or is it amazing?
I don't know that that's a particularly salty thing.
I thought it would be huge with salt water.
Well, so if you think like a big sporty or something, like those transducers are throwing like a really wide situation, right? So that comes so that field of view is going to be really big. And then also you have your side scan as well.
Yep.
But I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's really different from saltwater to freshwater in that way. Like when I see these bass boats that have 2 and 3 Lowrances on them, and I'm like, you're in 30 feet of water.
Yeah.
What? It seems a little much.
Yeah.
Cause even, in 1,000 feet of water, 2,000 feet of water, we're talking about two screens here. And mostly that's because of your nav. And then, you have nav on one side running
and sonar on another,
and sonar on another.
Yep.
And depending on how things are going, you might switch one of those to weather because that's,
perfect. Definitely a major player.
And if you're fishing a tournament or it's at night, you've got your you have a split screen on to see where everybody else is because you need to know.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it's ruining anything.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
I just don't feel like it's particularly salty. It's just not. It doesn't. It feels like there's a divide there, but that's just me. There's for offshore fishing, especially when you're in, deep drop or 70 plus miles offshore.
Yeah.
Forward facing, I don't know that that's going to do much for you, especially when you need to be looking at weather by the minute.
Yep.
And then also where other boats are in relation to you.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And freshwater, I mean, it happens sometimes, but the likelihood of you running into the military, into the Navy, whether it be foreign or domestic, isn't really hardly ever a thing. But
it's a thing.
It's a thing.
It is a possibility for sure.
Yeah. Well, that and they don't tell you you're coming. It's not terribly uncommon to hear, and it's a sub. just cruising.
Yeah. Oh, I bet.
On their way somewhere. Or like the radio chatter from the military is absolutely hilarious. Like one time the British Navy was around Mayport. I guess they were having a little rendezvous.
Mm-hmm.
And the radio was so funny because from the American side, like the American Navy guy running the video, he's like, I thought y'all was coming today. I thought we were shooting. And, and the British come back and they're like, oh, we just got hemmed up a bit. We're on our way.
That's awesome.
Like, no one told us, the Coast Guard didn't say anything that the British and the American Navy is sparring today. Like, come on, guys.
I know. That's kind of insane. I mean, then you have to wonder, is somebody trolling me? Like, is this really a thing? Because it feels that way.
It does. If it wasn't on their channel, like if it wasn't for the Pon, I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Freaking bananas.
There's no way. But like when I lived in Dubai, like the gray boats from Iran come right to the line.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right to the line. And you can, on a clear day, like you can see them from shore.
Oh, yeah. I believe it.
So, and you're just out there, the UAE has some of the best, biggest grouper going. And you're just out there like, woohoo, grouper. Yeah. And here's the Iranian regime just steaming by, just looking.
Yeah.
Waiting for an altercation.
It's wild, man. It is absolutely wild. Rachel, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for being part of the show. I really do appreciate it.
I love it so much.
I would, if you ever have anything that that's brewing as far as like something coming up with a stream of yours, or you're working with somebody or something, but by all means reach out to us, because we like to kind of have this be more communal. Like when we have a guest on and we have a good connection, like we like to kind of keep that going. So keep in touch with us for sure. Before we wrap up, this is like my famed sort of final question. Jigs and bigs, at the end of the day, like I said, we're all anglers. We like to catch wild animals that have gills with hooks. We're all about fishing stories, and no angler has any shortage of them. So from you, I would like two. I want one that's like the catch that you're most proud of. And it doesn't have to be the biggest fish or anything. It could be something sentimental. It could be, something where maybe the shit hit the fan and like you were able to help out and like make something happen. Whatever it is, the moment when you were on the water that you're the most proud of. And the other one that I want is the biggest epic fail. And that's the hardest one, because let's be honest, we're all human. To err is human. We've all messed shit up pretty good on the water. So it's more of a laundry list of stuff. But pick one of those stories and share that with us too.
Those are both tough questions. As far as like, obviously getting skunked sucks. Like I said, like Captain JB and I went pond hopping yesterday, and I messed up pretty badly. And I will tell you, I'm not Bassy. I'm not. But okay. I was trying. I was trying my bestest. So I had a bunch of freshwater stuff that either my cousin gave me or people at iCast gave me. Like Coley gave me a squishy paddle tail thing that was supposed to be a sensory toy, and then I ended up throwing it at fish. And then Jonathan Jones gave me a couple things, and just like stuff that I had like picked up, and I was like, okay, we're going to try everybody's thing.
Sure.
That, we're going to try everybody's thing and see what works. It was probably a Rachel error. But the one good fish that I did find yesterday, because we walked the banks like looking, and I don't have a great hook set because of saltwater fishing for so long, but I think it was one of the Fish and Effects. It was like a purple worm that had like a ball for a tail.
Yeah, okay.
And then a really pretty hook too. And I finally see like a decent bass coming, and it put it in its mouth, and it went like it just spit it out, because I think it felt the hook. The hook was kind of big, and I like messed up so hard that I yanked it out of its mouth basically, and I hooked like a log. And then I proceeded to spend the next 10 minutes retrieving the lure from the log.
On a bank fishing trip like that, It is.
Yeah.
I lose probably 10 times the amount of baits bank fishing that I do on any type of anything in the water. You know, even wading. You know, just because it's like you know, you hook, you don't have the ability to get that angle, and it's like you really have to celebrate when you free it up, and you're just like, I got it back. Oh my god. And for the folks that do lose baits along the banks when they're fishing, like that water level goes down or something, and you get out there, I have a name for that stuff. I call it shore candy. Because it's just like, it's a little bonus. You're like, oh, this is a really nice crankbait. I'm going to take the hardware off and I'll put some new hooks on. And there we go. You know, I found some really great baits that way. And I got to take them out of the environment, which is great, you know? Yeah, that's. I mean, but at least you had some kind of action on that trip. I'll give you that. And
definitely.
It's tough. It's really tough when you're pond hopping and you know you're going out specifically trying like specific products or baits, and like you don't necessarily have any confidence in those at all. So like you kind of stack the deck against you. I do it all the time. We work with Dark Horse Tackle, and something new will come along, and it might be months before I finally hook up with it. And I'm like, it's just because I was in the situation with that presentation. Like there's a plopper style bait from Anthem. It's called the Top Plop, and it is the heaviest. Like you've thrown a whopper plopper before, right?
Oh yeah, that's how you call alligators.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's exactly. Well, let me tell you, this one here we'll call like the biggest alligators because the blade is this little aluminum blade. And it's got a swivel built into the nose where the line tie is, so it never rolls over. You can burn this, and it is as loud as the loudest buzzbait. And but you can pause it because it floats. So you can burn it and just park it right there. And when it gets eaten, it is great. It is fantastic. That is wild. What's the moment that you're most proud of though? Like imagine you're at an event and someone's like, hey, I hear you fish. What's that story you're going to share with them?
Oh, it changes all the time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I really like to pull up events with a new thing, you know, with like a new story or like a new picture.
Definitely.
Because I don't repeat outfits. Why on earth would I repeat a fishing story? That's crazy.
My God, dude, that's epic. Oh, yes, Rachel. I love that.
Like I would, when I tell you I would never. I don't know. I really like catching. I mean, obviously, like none of us really want to catch sharks and like deal with them, and they eat all of our stuff and blah 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 blah.
It's absolute
but
chaos.
The ones that, like the ones that I do bring up are usually bulls or sandbar sharks, and I love bringing them to the surface finally, and I give their nose a little squeeze and then send them back down. Yep.
Yeah.
But I caught a bull shark a couple years ago that he had the top part of his tail bit off by something.
Really?
So I named him Wobbles because I think he was down there like this, you know? I don't think he was particularly, you know, smooth-footed.
Maybe it was at that bar that you were talking about and he was wobbling around.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So probably Wobbles the bull shark.
That is awesome.
What a
Rachel.
legend.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much again for being part of the show. Do me a favor. Let folks know where they can find you if they want to check out your live streams, all that stuff. And if you have anything coming up or anybody you're working with, opportunity to promote yourself, go for it.
Okay, so my live streams are every Tuesday because my Instagram is at Adventure Titties, so we do Titties Tuesday. So this, depending on who we're talking to, we're like, oh, it's a Tuesday live stream, or if they have the real tea, they know it's Titties Tuesday.
Exactly.
So this week is going to be Chuck the Fly Guy, obviously, epic in Montana, and then the week after is going to be Montauk Fishing. And then after that, we'll see. But I post all the time, whatever wacky harebrained ideas I have. Adventure Titties is my outlet. And, you know, people indulge me. They enable these habits.
Oh,
so
I bet.
it's okay.
I love that. I freaking love that. Well, Rachel, if you ever find yourself in New England, send me a DM and we're going fishing. We're gonna.
We're going.
We're
it's
gonna.
happening.
Yeah, we're gonna target some stuff that you've never ever had any experience with. Actually, before we wrap up, so you're in Florida right now. Have you had any experience with snakehead?
I've seen them, but I've never caught them. Yeah, they're not uncommon in Asia.
Oh no,
and they're around. Funnily enough, when I was in Udaipur, which is like way out, kind of in the middle of nowhere in India, there's a man-made lake, and it's very cute. And these boats take you between all of these like 7-star hotels, and I'm looking over the side, and I'm like, oh, those are bowfin. Like, can we fish in here? And they're like, in the Hindi like slang for white lady is gory, and they're like, the gory has lost her mind. Like, they're not about. I'm like, can we fish bowfin in the Udaipur lake that's meant for like Maharashtra? Like,
oh yeah.
I've never caught them though. So I've seen them in Asia, but I've never caught them.
Next time you're in New York, if you have some time, let me know, because I'm only a few hours away from Jersey. They're as far north as New Jersey. We'll go catch some snakehead. Yeah. Oh yeah. They are. It's like catching a pit bull. That's the only way I can, like, it's equally as exciting as catching bullhead, but in some ways, because they're invasive, the odds are that you catch one and it's the first lure it's ever had in its face is sky high. Because like in Maryland for a while, they were getting $17 a pound to sell them because they're invasive. Yeah, it's insane. So people would buy them and they'd they sell them, whatever the location was, and they get $17 a pound. These are big fish, and which is pretty unbelievable. So the odds are that if you're finding one, it's very possible, like at least a 50-50 shot that thing has never seen a lure before, and buckle up. It is wild. But yeah, we will go. I got a spot. And we'll make this happen. So if you're ever, seriously, if you're ever in New York, I'll make my schedule work and I'll come down and we'll take my boat and we'll hit it.
I love this. I end up in New York at least like once a year. So
yeah, that's what I figured.
Work.
In your line of work, I figured that was probably going to be the situation for sure. I love it.
And I've never fished in New Jersey. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's Jersey. I'm a Massachusetts guy. I have a hard enough time going to New York City. You know what I'm saying? I bleed Boston left all over the place, but I do pronounce my R's. I'm not one of those.
You're not Matt Damon.
I'm not. No, I am not. I am for sure not Matt Damon. Come on. That is Andrew Hayes from Tackle Talk, actually. I'm leaving that in there. I thank you so much, Rachel. This is absolutely awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Do me a favor and shoot me over a DM, like any pic of you holding just a giant. Doesn't matter the species, anything else, because we'll use that on the artwork for this episode. It kind of helps the listener to kind of like, if they're looking for a guest, and it'll stay, the podcast is an archive. So if anybody's ever like, oh yeah, that's right, Rachel Mullins was on Jigs and Bigs, they can just go and look at the cover art and they're like, that's the one. So it makes it easier. Whatever species, anything you want, send it on over.
Wonderful. I will absolutely do that.
I love it. Thanks again. You've been a delight. I think the Jigs and Bigs community is going to love you. Go follow Adventure Titties right now, folks. Do yourself a favor. And if you're around on a Tuesday evening, go ahead and take a peek at Titty Tuesday, because it is it's an absolute delight of fishy conversation with a lot of fishy folks that Rachel's got a nice little community going. I love that.
I do. I'm so lucky.
You are.
So lucky.
You are. We'll talk soon, Rachel, all right? You have a good one, okay?
You too.
All right, bye-bye now.
Okay, gearheads, it's time to talk tools. Jigs and Bigs Gear of the Week.
And this is what happens when Bobby Roast Beef is drinking red wine during a show recording. He forgets that, we before the interview, we were supposed to have Gear of the Week, but here we are. Here we are. Guys, this week's Gear of the Week segment is all about a very specific bait from Battle Baits. Now, I got to give a little bit of a story here. Let's go ahead and talk about it. We got this was back in, I guess it was February of 2024. It was it was Dave Urkey that had approached me. I forget what day it was, and he was like, "Dude, I have a bunch of these baits, and I'm giving them out to friends that just love this stuff, and I think you need to check this out." So what I had what he gave me was a bait from Battle Baits. All right, and it's called the minigun, and what the minigun is it's a compact spinnerbait. It's a compact design that a lot of people have been asking for, and that it's been tested and tuned. It is so absolutely badass. Now the thing is, there is a custom blade on this, which has like a ribbed pattern, which makes it really unique. It's a single number 3.5 willow blade on here. So it's not like super heavy vibration or anything. It's just enough to give it a little bit of flash in the water. Just like all of the Battle Baits, this is a hand-tied skirt, and it is like precision cut. It is the perfect size for the hook that is in there. I was throwing around one. This is a color called Battle Bream. It's a great, it's really a great bluegill presentation, and mine was, it's a half-ounce weight, and this has a 3/0 hook in it. And I mean, we're talking about, this is a great, you know what, I want to try to share this with you guys so that you can see it. I'm gonna move my tab here to a new window.
It's funny that you said that, because I literally clicked on the Battle Bream as you were saying. I was like, I like that color, and you're like, it's this color, Cole, and I'm like, oh, yep, there it is.
It's pretty sweet, man. I really like it. Let's go ahead and do this. We'll allow it.
I got a bone to pick with my boy Wolf of Walmart, because he could have sent me one of these, because I definitely would have fished one of these too.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Presenter overlay off. There we go.
The fact that it's that size but comes in the weight that it comes in is like solid.
I gotta share the right thing. Maybe I'm not gonna share it with you guys. Maybe I'm not, because it'll be in the video. That's why. Yeah, that's why it's gonna be in the video. This is it's a great downsized, but because of that weight, like, you can still run this thing really deep and it doesn't rise up like crazy. So I was fishing this in grass, and I was fishing this in grass with intention, because this was a lot of grass that was subsurface. It only came up to a certain point, and what was coming up close to the surface was very, very sparse. So I was fishing this with like a slow retrieve, and when it would get hung up, I just give it a pop or two and then free it all up and then keep it going. And it was getting absolutely crushed. Like I said, I was getting follows and bites from pike that were just too soft and subtle, but the bass could not get enough of this. And I was hooking them good every single time. It was great. So yeah, I would recommend, go ahead and check this stuff out. Now, you want to fish this on your typical spinnerbait gear, you know, and I was throwing mine on a 7'4" medium heavy, moderate fast rod with a 6-speed, like 150 size bait caster and I was fishing it on, I think, 12-pound fluoro. And again, like, just making long casts with it, letting it hit the bottom, and then just start slow rolling it back. And as I would get hung up, I just give it a couple of pops and it would come right out. So I would go ahead and check these out if you can. They sell out quick. They really do. They sell out quick. So go ahead and check out Battle Baits and the minigun if you're looking to add another, maybe slightly more stealthy, but still very strong and durable spinnerbait to add to your arsenal. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's go ahead. We got some live well stuff to get into. Or I hope you guys are ready for this one. I genuinely hope you're ready.
Hi there. Welcome to the Live Well, where we crack open a ramp beer and attempt to answer all of your burning questions.
Alrighty, guys. Slowly becoming one of my favorite segments of this show is the Live Well, and it's got to do 100% with the engagement. We have 4 calls this week for the Live Well, which is pretty badass. 4 calls. Yes, 2 of them are from Eli, but they're really good ones. So we're going to actually start with one of those calls from Eli. Let's go ahead and give it a listen, find out what's Eli asking.
Hey guys, Eli here. What is your proudest or favorite moment as an angler, and then what is your probably biggest fail or least favorite moment that you ever had as an angler?
Am I?
Okay, have a great day. Bye.
Am I in the beef seat right now?
I was going to say that's a question I've been asked on this podcast a long time
100%.
ago.
And it's good that it was a long time ago, because I feel like this is one of those questions where the answer's going to change. You know what I mean? Like you're going to evolve. So do you want to go first, Mike? Or what should we do? Should we do the proudest moments and go back and forth, and then do the epic fails back and forth?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Do you have your proudest moment memory?
I do. So I've been doing tournaments for a little bit. I actually started my first tournament trail with Sean the Fisherman when he was directing the Western Mass MAKB.
That's right.
And which is kind of funny because they're both going to be tournament related. But so last year, the team that we do the small vessel series for Slay Nation, which is a team trail. Me and my teammate, we won. So it'll be the first time I ever won anything. Like I've never won a tournament of any kind in my life.
Yep.
I've always come in like second or third. It's always been like that. So, we won our first tournament and essentially won Angler of the Year at the end of the season. So it was like, winning that tournament, it just kind of like got the monkey off my back of like, I'd always like the phrase of always been the bridesmaid, not the bride. Like that was always fell just short of the money or just short of the winning and finally actually won a tournament. So
that's badass, dude. Yeah, that's badass. My proudest moment actually comes from St. Clair. It really does. And it was that PB Smalley that was the fattest smallmouth I've ever caught. And it's one of those things where like catching a fish of that caliber on the extremely light bait finesse gear that I was throwing, like it was just one of the moments where I'm just like, wow, like this is what I came all the way out here for, was for this type of thing. I did not lose the fish. Todd was there with me. He says, hell yeah. And that was like a group effort right there. It was absolutely awesome. That whole trip, I could go over and over about. Little bit of an inside tip. This is a cringy Bobby roast beef practice. I do like to get like fucking stupid baked and watch my own videos back, especially the trip videos, the ones where I'm going on some kind of a trip. So like I've watched back the string of like TikToks and reels that I put together and posted on YouTube for the Moosehead trip. I look back at all the travel stuff, and it's sort of like, for me, that's like the new like photo album. You know what I mean? I go back, and especially anything where I'm like out with people, the slot limit tournament stuff too, Binya, like that's in the same category. Like I just go back and I like watching that kind of stuff. But man, that scene comes up and the fucking mics died. And like, if I would have captured all that, it would have been a whole other beast. I had to do a voiceover for it, but I'm like, I have this as this memory that like I can play over in my head. And it was just like, the whole trip was amazing, but that being the last fish of the trip was just absolutely awesome, man. It was a big one for me. So what's your biggest fail, Binya? What do you think?
I'm going to do two, because the funny biggest fail is losing to Bobby Roast Beef in the July Jigs and Big Slot Series tournament. But
it was a small margin.
I guess it wasn't really a fail as much as it was the fact that I lost by the tiny amount that I lost with the same amount of fish, and I beat myself because I didn't keep fishing. I should have just stuck it out. Just
wrote it out.
I always do that. But the actual biggest fail was when I threw a temper tantrum, and Bobby's heard this story. So when I was doing this trail, and I think he probably heard it from both sides.
I did too, for sure I did.
So I did a tournament in Western Massachusetts, and I think I caught 2 fish. Didn't even get a full fish limit.
Yeah.
And you guys have to understand, like, from a perspective of, for these tournaments, I'm driving 3 hours one way.
Oh, 100%.
For 5:30 a.m. captain's meeting.
Yeah.
Fishing till 3 o'clock, weigh in, 3 hour drive home. And I did bad an event went down to this next tournament event, pre-fished it. So I drove down and pre-fished it, went back down the following weekend to fish the tournament, had this whole master plan, and I made a bunch of mistakes. Now I know what I did wrong. Ended the tournament, literally threw my kayak on the trailer, stormed out of there like a 2-year-old, didn't even talk to anybody, just sent a text message to the group chat for the trail and was like, guys, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I'm not good company right now. And I drove my ass home, and I got about 3/4 of the way home, and I was done fishing. I'm done tournament fishing. I'm selling all my stuff. I had that moment. And it was just, and the funny part is then about, I don't know, 20 more minutes later, I was laughing at myself because I'm like, I literally just stormed out of there like a toddler about a grassroots trail that basically, even if I'd won, I basically break even with the gas money to drive.
100%. Yeah.
But yeah, it was just one of those, it was the moment that humbled me because I came from always fishing my local lakes.
Yeah.
And everybody's a hero on their home lake. But then when you start competing with other people, and the main reason I got the most frustrated was where the big fish were caught, because I ended up talking to Sean later about it.
Yep.
Was where I thought I should go, but because there was people there, actually Nelson was one of them that was in that corner.
Yep.
I decided to leave that area and just let him have a whole 100-yard stretch of grass, which is my skill set.
And you don't want to be that guy, you know what I mean? That's like encroaching on other people. That's the other thing too. And I feel like that kind of plays into the tournament that we just had, is that I'm the same way. Like if somebody's fishing on a spot, I'm going to be as respectful as possible. Now, if it's somebody that I know and I'm like, hey, look, where this isn't competitive, I might scoot over there and be like, hey man, do you mind if I follow behind you or something like that? Or if anything else, I might post up away from them and wait till they come off. And I'll have some sort of a theory. I think the best quote from that whole episode, Binya, was I think it was Sean that was like, yeah, everybody just turned and looked as this blue pickup truck was firing up the hill with smoke and fire coming off the back tires. He's like, I've never seen a pickup go so fast in my life. And I'm like, I go, that sounds about right, man. It sounds about right. But I mean, you nailed it. You learned from it. You took that information and you processed it, and and now here you are. Oh man. My epic fail is a gear fail. And it's stupid and it's embarrassing. So I had, you guys are all pretty familiar with the 2024 slot limit tournament was it June, early June? This is the one where Brody, I think you came in second for this one, Mike, and Brody took the dub.
Yep.
And this was my first big outing with my boat. And I've told the story on the podcast before, but this is and my day was terrible. Mind you, I was in the slot limit series and I'm like, I'm going to measure whatever fish we get in here. But I was really out to fish for pike that day. And it was the same body of water you were at for that tournament. It was a Nota, right? It was the same body of water. Now, I should say, I love Anota. I think it's a great lake. But I will tell you this much. It is a bitch. It is either great, it is feast or famine, legitimately. It's either great or it sucks. There's no in between. So I go and I'm at this one spot and I'm fishing in a location where I've caught pike before. You know what I mean? I've this has the recipe, everything seems right. And it was the fishiest day. We had clouds, we had wind. It was just, they should have been chewing and moving every which way. And I don't know what the hell I did. But Paul was in the boat with me and he's hooking up. I think he caught his PB Smalley that day. I think he caught a couple of different pike, got those in the boat. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? It's not making any sense. Keep in mind, I had already had caused damage to my truck on the way by. I had lost a combo at this point overboard, netting Paul's PB smallmouth, right? What happens? I'm like, Paul, let's go grab some food. He's like, all right, man, that sounds good. Cool. Because it was a rough day and it was cold that day, I remember. And I'm like, I'm going to do a couple of laps around this lake and just get some more hours on the outboard. You down for it? He's like, yeah, absolutely, man. So I go to just kind of get up on plane, and I go across this rocky ridge that kind of comes up, and I ka-chowed my prop so badly. I have it actually on a shelf right over here as a display piece. First, it was the second body of water I ever dropped this boat into.
I got that text message. I remember that.
Dude, I was so fucking mad that day. And that was what, a $200 mistake? Right there.
And you hadn't had the boat very long.
Hours. You can count it in hours. Not even full ass days, but yeah, it was just hours. It was ridiculous. Eli chimes in. He goes, my favorite moment was my PB Smalley swam to an island in the middle of the river, not knowing what the hell I'm doing. Processed to catch my PB. Oh, all right. PB Smalley. I don't know. Let's go ahead and shift gears. We got another call. This is from Brandon.
Bobby, who the fuck is Joe Brown? I just wanted to say, I appreciate y'all, man. Like, caught so much fish this year than last year, and this is just an appreciation call. Keep doing y'all thing. Y'all got a fan for life. Bobby, you need to set up the damn trip with the bandit. You know what I mean? And Joe, you might as well come on down too. Fuck it. I'm going to take a nice little rip off the pen, the fish whistle, probably head out a little bit before work. Tight lines. Love you guys.
Those are the best calls. That's the best shit to hear. Like, it's been over 5 years, and we're talking about, like, still getting people fired up to go out and fish. Like, that is the best. Like, Brandon, thank you so much for calling and sharing that. And he's right. Like, that Jersey trip has to happen. Maybe we can convince who the fuck is Joe Brown to go ahead and make it work. Maybe, because, I do think that Joe and I need to do some of the YouTube collabs like you and I are doing, Mike. You know, where we go out with some listeners and we make things a little bit interesting. Like, maybe we're like, oh yeah, steak dinners, losers pay the bill, some shit like that, or winners pay the bill.
I mean, honestly, we could meet up somewhere in Mass and do man versus machine versus Uber machine, because his boat's
mega
like
machine.
the next level of bass boat.
100%. And it actually would be that would be really, really interesting to see happen, because while Joe does have a little bit more experience with forward facing, with Mega 360 and everything else, like I feel like he is still in this process where he's learning stuff all the time about it.
Yep.
NFL rookie dinner prices.
Yeah.
I love it. So that was awesome. Thank you for that. I appreciate that, Brandon. I seriously do. Let's jump in with this this next one here. This one comes from Kevin. Biohazard Bassin. Here we go.
Hey guys, this is Kevin from Biohazard Bassin. I have a live well question. So I've been doing a lot of, obviously, finesse fishing, downsized presentations, and I'm using 6-pound fluoro, and I'm losing a ton of my tungsten jig heads to the fucking slime darts. So I'm just wondering if I should find like a fine wire leader to use, or maybe I should switch to braid, which I think braid probably cuts easier than fluoro. I'm not really sure. I was just trying to get your expertise on this, because, obviously losing tungsten jig heads, it's not cheap. So let me get some information on that from you guys, and if I should switch to braid, and if I were to switch to braid, what, pound test would I use? Right now I'm using the spinning setup for my finesse fishing. So, all right, guys. Thanks a lot, and remember, get that stink on your fingers.
So I think, Kevin, you nailed it. Braid is going to be a mistake, because braid does not have the abrasion resistance that fluorocarbon has. I would tell you that your best bet is to continue throwing fluoro on a larger pound test leader. I would say realistically, I mean, you're throwing tungsten shaky heads. I'm going to guess you're probably throwing about like 3/16, quarter ounce, maybe as high as 3/8, maybe, I don't know, something like that. Well, something in that ballpark. I would suggest you go to at least 8, maybe even 10-pound leader. Consider what your main line is too. Like your main line, if you're throwing, braid, if you're throwing 10 or 20-pound braid on your main line, throwing 8-pound or 10-pound is going to give you a little bit more to play with, as far as getting your losing your stuff. Because I'll tell you what, like my experience, I've caught, I caught a 27-inch chain pickerel on 4-pound leader. Like it can happen. Like, and these are like super small shit. Like, but you got to count your lucky stars. Like if you're breaking them off that bad, I would say I would go with a larger pound test on your leader, because it's not going to take the abuse. It'll take the abuse better than if you switch to braid. You get one little nick in braid and then it's game over. And then I think you're going to end up losing more that way. Unless you want to throw, Unless you want to throw on like a heavier, I would say throw probably braid to like an 8 to 10 pound fluoro leader, and I think you'll probably be good to go. Especially on a spinning setup, you don't have to worry about that knot. Like it's going to go right through all your guides. You'll be okay. What do you say, Binya? You're muted.
That's why. You can get away with, and this is something I played around with a little bit, kind of gives you a little bit of a hybrid, is you can mess around with like a copolymer leader, because you get a little bit of stretch from the mono, which tends to take a hit a little bit better from the pike.
Yep.
But like Bobby said, one thing you can do. Sorry, go ahead.
Mono is going to be great. It is.
Yeah. So I do copolymer. So what I've started doing this year to save me a little bit of money is I go braid to copolymer leader, and I'll run like a 10 to 12 pound like copolymer basically.
Yep.
Because it gives you a little bit of stretch, gives you a shock absorber for when you set the hook, and it gives you a little bit more abrasion resistance than a straight fluoro.
Yeah.
And the other thing is if you're doing the size 6 for the visibility, the difference between a size like 6-pound and a 10-pound is so minimal when you're talking fluoro that it's not. I know everybody likes to be like, oh, the diameter. It's not that much different when you're talking fluoro.
Yeah.
When you're talking braid, it is a big difference. But when you're talking fluoro, you can step up to a 10 and be fine.
I love this. So Todd chimes in. He goes, I just chalk it up to the tax man of fresh water. Dude, that is fucking so right on the money. Because it's true. Like it's 100% true. You throw these baits out there, and in some situations you're chucking them out there and they're just getting beat. And then John Hagens goes, I banked a 36-inch muskie on 10-pound mono. There's something about that. Like it can happen. I'm not saying that it can't happen for sure. But I would say in this specific instance right here, like 6-pound leader is, I mean, depending on like what it is that you're throwing. I know that he also throws a lot of grass, and pickerel specifically love the grass. They love it. So if you're throwing in weedy areas like that, you can 100% get away with a little bit larger leader size. I would go 8 to 10. Start there, see how it goes. I've heard, now I'm not 100% sure, I might get this wrong, but have you ever noticed, like when you go to a store and you're looking at line for leaders, there is leader line and then there is the fluorocarbon. Leader line is thicker, like slightly thicker than your other stuff. So if you're buying leader line, I believe it is. I might have that backwards because, again.
No, it's less, and I love this terminology in bass fishing. It's less supple. It's not made to be casted. It's stiffer. Like if you hold leader in your hand, it's going to stand up. Whereas if you hold straight line, it kind of has that curl. It'll fall.
Bends.
If you hold a piece of leader straight out, it's going to stand straight out. Whereas an actual casting line actually has some fold to it.
Yeah. That's probably a good way to put it. More supple. Or less supple, I should say, for the leader line.
And that's actually a lot of times that leader is copolymer. If you actually look at it, because I've made that mistake before.
Yep. Oh, I believe it. A
lot of those ones that are defined as leader is actually copolymer.
Yep. And that's the thing. Like I recently picked up, because I was just buying like spools of like 6-pound fluoro. And I recently picked up, what was it, FC Sniper 6-pound fluorocarbon leader line. And it's slightly, and you're right, that's actually a really good way to explain it. Like if you hold like a small piece of it, just a few inches, it will just kind of stick out, versus if you do that with the other one, it'll kind of start to bow down.
When you try to tie your knots, if you can easily just put it right through the eye of your hook, it's probably leader line. Because usually like a regular fluoro, it's going to like bend around the hook.
Well, depending, there's going to be a threshold where like you're going to be like, oh, my 20-pound fluoro, it's not going to make a difference. You know,
if you're using 30-pound big game, it's a little different.
Yeah, that's a whole other beast right there. But I would say, Kevin, seriously, I would consider that before I go straight braid. Going straight braid might sound like a good idea, but those teeth are going to put a couple of nicks in, and while you might get that fish in, you're going to break off another couple of fish down the line, because it's just not going to be able to handle the abuse. Or even worse, you're going to make a cast and then you'll stop it, and that lure is just going to keep going. Keep that in mind as well. And
if you saw that Facebook post, that's what my wife was talking about. I did that yesterday.
Another tip too is you might want to look into mono as the leader, not fluorocarbon. And the reason is yes, there's a little bit of stretch in there, but I feel that mono is very forgiving when it comes to teeth and rocks and like any kind of abrasion at all. So I think that if you fool around with that, like if you have some 8 or 10 pound mono, try that on. Keep in mind, you might have to really jack them that much harder, because that little bit of leader line is going to stretch a little bit, you know? So that super fast action rod that you might be using is going to seem like it's a little bit more moderate. So just be prepared for it, but I would try it and see what you think. You know, who knows? We'll figure it out. And then, of course, we got to go out. We have one last call here, and it is from Eli. Let's see what Eli's got to say.
It's Eli, currently in the chopper. Got a question for the live well. One of my favorite things that Dark Horse Tackle does is not only do they include amazing baits in their boxes that highlight some awesome anglers, but they highlight great companies as well. And what I mean by that is a lot of times it's companies that won't fit, like their product is not going to go in the box. And I want to ask you, Bobby and Joe, what has been your favorite company that has been highlighted in the box so far? Have a good day. See you guys.
I already know my answer. 100%. I use this product every day.
Why don't you go? Because I have to think about that. It's been a little bit since I've had
a
box.
Andy's Heat Your Meat. 100%. The Andy's Heat Your Meat seasoning, every single variety. And I've gone and ordered a bunch. I've ordered the Dalmatian, the barbecue rub. I've ordered the actual barbecue seasoning, both the standard Heat Your Meat spicy seasoning and the more mild jalapeno one. And I love having them both for different things. I just used a jalapeno today on a killer breakfast sandwich this morning. And what's the other one that I like? Oh, the Hot and Heavy SPG. Son. I'm telling you, that right there, if you camp with me, you've had the Hot and Heavy SPG. 100%. Yes, I have salt and pepper shakers. They barely get used. I use that Hot and Heavy SPG on everything right there. That is by far, when I edited this question, and because I processed these so they sound kind of similar, this was the one for me. I was like, oh, I know 100% what it is. And there's some great companies that are out there. One of the ones I haven't used, but like Kayak Cushion, you know, that's a perfect example. Like they're not going to be able to put a kayak cushion in the box. It's just not going to happen. Great product. The Evolve rod sleeves is a favorite. I think the Evolve rod sleeves are fantastic. I have stumbled on my favorite rod sleeve. and Binya knows what these are.
Yep.
They're so good. They are, but 100%. And Dark Horse does that. They feature, and I should say that now Dark Horse Tackle is selling on their site boat snacks. Boat snacks on
found that the other day
on the Dark Horse site. I was like, holy shit, this is fantastic. So yeah, you're 100% right. Like they are, Dark Horse is looking to support like the 1809 Candle Company. Come on. Like that's awesome. But yeah, for me, it's the Andes Heat Your Meat, 100%. What do you think, Mike?
So I was going to say I didn't get it in a box, but I actually have purchased some boat snacks, and I actually have been eating them at work.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was thinking from a standpoint of your traditional subscription box, right?
Yeah.
None of them throw beef jerky in there. None of them
or even just the mention of like, hey, this is the featured, like, because that's the thing about the featured business. It's like that's what it is. And on occasion with the Andes Heat Your Meat, like they'll put that in there. The boat snacks they haven't put in a box yet, but and actually I don't even know if they've officially been a featured small business, but they very well could be. You know?
Yeah, I only saw on the Instagram because I actually follow and have talked about snacks a little bit. I'm actually working to get them on my podcast once I start back up again.
Yep.
But the idea of partnering, so I guess it's really not necessarily one product as much as the fact that they partner with non-endemic.
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
Brand.
I like that.
So like instead of saying one brand, like they're willing to go with non-endemic that's in the industry, because let's be honest, the fishermen and beef jerky, fishermen and seasonings, like it's something that we use, something that we want, but
100%.
It's not something that I'm necessarily going to go try Heat Your Meat. But if I got a coupon code, I might try it because I got it in the box. It's something that's really cool to get some exposure to something that I wouldn't try on my own.
And it's interesting too, like Eli mentions here, he's like the Broken Twigs landing nets. Like I would have never heard of those at all. And I think that the Broken Twigs are an unbelievably cool idea. I genuinely do. When it's time for me to replace my net, which is getting closer than you realize, when it's time for me to replace my net on the boat, I'm probably going to lean in that way pretty significantly. I don't know. But yeah, it's so cool that like that Dark Horse does that. They include a little something special to give a little bit of love to these other companies that might not necessarily line up in there. And you know, we've talked about this on Jigs and Bigs. Like we've had, what was it? Summit Scents was a candle company that we had a little bit of a working relationship with. That was pretty awesome. You know, the thing is like anglers are humans. You know what I mean? Like we got to eat. You know, we need to be fueled properly. We actually probably like to relax once in a while. Shit like that. So it's like, it's not just baits. It's not just accessories. It's the things that go along with it. Shit. I'll tell you what, like if it was like Frostbuddy or something like that, like these are products that like anglers can utilize, you know, and we're all about that shit. So I think it's pretty badass. Todd says, I would have never tried them if I didn't get them. The bluegrass bug. I don't even remember the bluegrass bug. I might have been before my time, Todd, with the Dark Horse boxes. Might have been. Or maybe I've just had a little bit too much of the fucking party time. You know what I'm saying? Could very well be the situation. I think that's all that we have right here. We heard from Brandon. We heard from Eli twice and from Kevin. Man, what a good live well segment. What a fantastic live well segment. Before we jump in, right, before we wrap this show up and all that stuff, first off, I want to talk about we are in the process right now of planning what's going to happen with Jigs and Bigs after the 300th episode. Because we're coming up, we're less than 20 weeks away from episode number 300. And while we want to have a celebration, I've been posting some polls on both the Facebook group, the Jigs and Bigs community Facebook group, and also on Instagram. And by and large, everybody wants us to do some kind of an event. And I had mentioned that I am leaning heavily toward doing an event that's more in line with the 100th episode celebration than the 200th show celebration. We learned some shit at that 200th show celebration, and I think we're just going to take what was working so well for the 100th episode, and we're going to build on that by trying to do a live stream. So the good news is for you, I've already reached out to somebody in my field who is a professional and has been doing some live stream stuff on like the collegiate level. For like, these are events that really matter. We're talking graduations and stuff like that. Big time events where people need to be able to see these events, seminars and things like that. We are going to be doing a live stream of the show, and I can't really get into the details too much. Joe and I have to do some talking and figure some stuff out. I got to book the hall and get that squared away, get a date. We want to try to do this to avoid any of the expos. I don't want this to run in with the New England Fishing Expo. But I also don't want to do it too close to Christmas either. So I'm leaning on like kind of that like mid-January, maybe just before that New England show. That would be fantastic. We'll figure it out. But we will have information with a date. There will be tickets available for both in person and online. We're going to stream the show recording, and I think what we're probably going to do is go live and just have an overhead camera of the party so that people can join in, pop that on, hear audio from what's going on, have a few drinks, get ready to party with us, and then we'll record an actual live episode. It should be pretty badass.
Then you'll get drunk and fly Bobby's drone around to get the aerial shots, and it'll be great.
It'll be awesome. Yeah. Don't drink and drone,
Don't drink and drone, guys.
Hey. Binya, you got anything you want to tease? Anything lined up that folks should look forward to?
To be honest, I've got content coming out this is the time of year where I have like 2 to 3 videos a week. So I do have a lot of stuff coming out. I am going to be doing a slot series video. It's kind of my yang to his yin for that video. So I'm going to probably have to do a little voiceover work because you're probably not going to want to hear the words I was actually saying when I was catching the fish. But be looking lookout for my version of the slot series and my opinion of the day. And I'm going to go back and reflect. So the video is going to be more of a reflection of how the day went, what I could have done, what I should have done. So kind of like almost coaching myself on the changes I should have made. So I think it's going to be kind of a cool way to do the video.
I think so, man. I think it'll be a good little way to sort of keep the conversation going. And, you'd be amazed at the things that folks will find value in the content that you create. And like, dude, 2 to 3 videos a week is fucking badass, man. Nice job. I wish I had the ability to put that much out for content. I think it would help a lot, man. I just don't have it in me right now, though.
I'm already scheduling some of my videos I'm recording now for April.
Oh, no shit.
I have that much content. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, man, that's awesome. Good for you. Guys, do yourself a favor. If you're not currently following Jigs and Bigs on all the social medias, go ahead and do that. Instagram, Facebook. You can join our Jigs and Bigs community homepage, our group over on Facebook. We have a bunch of folks that share a bunch of stuff. We share, the big successes, all that, everything. Man, it's just, we have a good time. We have a good time is what it gets down to. On top of that, if you like some of the stuff that we've been talking about right here, Jigs and Bigs has the ability to put you in touch and even save you a little bit of money. Check the notes of this podcast right here. In the description, we've got links for Dark Horse Tackle. We've got links for Omnia Fishing. We've got links for Chill Steel Pipes. We've got links for a lot of the stuff that we have been really supportive of over the years here and there. A-Bay Lure Lab, for instance. We've got Reaction Tackle, all kinds of stuff. So if you need to gear up, you can save a little bit of scratch that way using some of the promo codes and the affiliate links that are there. Plus, you can support the show a little bit by doing that. And in some cases, all it is just giving us a little pat on the back with that specific company. It goes a long way. We try to stay as close as we can with these guys. again, information about the 300th celebration will be coming in the future, but it's something that we're thinking about. We're working on it here. We have some good stuff that we got to get out there. Yes, I know. I have payments that I have to send out to the winners of the slot limit tournament. Of course, let's go ahead and just do the honors of who officially won and what the totals were. Did I mention to you, Binya, that I had to actually deny a handful of entries up at the top. But in total, our winners at 171 and a half inches, Matt Thayer. And I will say, Matt had not a single one of his fish DQ'd, which is fantastic. He did great. Brody finished in second place at 181.5 inches, and John Thompson took the dub at 329.75 inches. Compared to the last time he fished one of these slot limit tournaments, I think he was slacking. He's about 170 fish off. 170 inches off, I should say. But it was a day. It was a freaking day. But congrats
John
to our
had
winners.
more fish DQ'd than I had entered, guys, just to show you how that tournament went for me.
I know, right? It's fucking brutal. It's fucking brutal. But at the end of the day, we're going to be sending out payments to those guys and getting them all set this week. Guys, do yourself a favor. If you love Jigs and Bigs and you think you enjoy this at all, leave us a review and a rating over on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a comment if you like something or have a question on Spotify. You can also rate the show there as well with a star rating, and that goes a long way to kind of help us on Spotify. We appreciate you guys so much. As always, have yourselves a good one. Keep tagging us in those fish picks, and we will have results coming for the Jigs and Bigs Certified Stud competition. Kind of waiting on Joe to be able to go ahead and move forward with this. So take advantage of this time. If you have fish picks you want to submit them. I considered submitting a couple of the 19s that I caught recently, but I'm going to take myself out of the running and not include myself in the raffle. I just want them in the folder. We'll see you guys next week. More Jigs and Bigs goodness coming up in 7 days, like we always say.
Tits and ass, smoke some grass.